It's the Fantasy and Football Special with Brandy and JVT live from the Circa Resort and Casino.
JVT, Brandy live from the Galaxy Ballroom in Circa, downtown Las Vegas. We'll be here for the next 3 hours. Come up and say what's up. And, of course, we're here for a very special reason. Ultimate Contest Weekend out here at Circa. Football season is upon us. Week 0 coming up on Saturday. NFL 2 weeks away. Really looking forward to it. But the contest signups are what it's all about. Survivor, millions. Grandissimo, if you roll that way. Brandy here was thinking about signing up for the Grandissimo. Paltry $100,000 entry. You're in for the biggest granddaddy of them all when it comes to survivors, but I'm fired up. Brandy, I don't know about you, so I am a little bit more in tune with the sports gambling space and the big heads that revolve around it. This is a big weekend, and I'm excited, and I consider myself to be an energy chameleon is what I call it. I match the energy of the rooms and the areas that I am in, and I got to tell you, I am fired up for this weekend. Events out the wazoo. You come and you sign up. You get to go down to the meet and greet cocktail party at Bar Canada. That's coming up later tonight. I might swing by after the coach's show later this evening, Angel, if you're not doing anything. Stadium Swim Open Bar, Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. if you sign up for the contest. The Legacy Club Mixer tomorrow night. I also might show up to that thing tomorrow as well. I am fired up, if you cannot tell, for Ultimate Contest Weekend. What's up?
Well, this is my first time experiencing Ultimate Contest Weekend, so I'm fired up as well. You say you're an energy chameleon. The room that we're in, it's really early in the morning. We're on Radio Row. Not a whole lot of people here, at least on our row.
Correct.
And I think you're the person beginning with the energy. So I don't think it's more so a chameleon, because if you were to adapt to the energy right now in this room, it'd be a little slow. But we got to be perked up. We got to be hyped, because this is exciting. And I will say, I'm going to mention this throughout the show, because that's how amazing I think that this docuseries was on season 3 of Circa Survivor. Go watch it. But let me tell you, the final episode is coming out next week. I did not know this.
Correct.
So I got to the end, and I was like, where's the final episode? I texted JVT, what is going on? Hit up your people at Circa Sports. What is happening? And it's out next week.
And where did you watch that at, by the way?
On YouTube.
Yeah, that's
Circa
right.
Sports YouTube.
That's right. Check that out, Circa Sports, or, the VSiN YouTube channel, the main gig that I have, 12:30 The Game as well. You can check it out over there, too, but it is a phenomenal docuseries. I will not ruin it for you. I know what happened. I know what's going to happen.
Do not tell me. He was going to tell me yesterday, and I was like, no.
Well, because I forgot. I forgot that it wasn't all out. I thought you were about to watch the last one, and then you hit me with the, well, it's not out yet. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. It's like a weekly thing, and we're not up there yet. So
you made a small cameo in it, too.
I did. I look a little different, but yes. I made a small cameo in that thing. Good thing they did not ask me, because I'll tell you what, I was 4 sheets to the wind when they asked me to stand there and talk to them. So I think I did not pop up, but I think really what this is about is the growth of these contests as well. Like, you can see when you watch the documentary how people get into it. Obviously, there's a lot of money on the line, so that really does matter. But for you, right, I think you're a good example of this. You have not participated in it,
right? And
you watched it, and you were into it, and you were understanding what this was all about. And you see the growth of this thing. Circa Survivor as of Wednesday night, I'll get the updated in, but 12,698 entries.
Wow.
About a $7.3 million overlay so far. They will meet that. The Circa Million, 2,815 entries, we'll call it $2 million overlay. The Grandissimo has 31 entries so far, $900,000 overlay. We'll get the update from Mike Palm, who's going to join us in the third hour when he starts making the rounds here at Radio Row. But every year they set these things up with a bigger and bigger and bigger guarantee, and every single year they blow through the guarantee because more and more people sign up. It's been incredible.
Yeah, and look, it is about the money, obviously, and when you have a little skin in the game, it makes watching NFL football even more exciting than it already is every single week. However, I think what I took from the docuseries was the sense of community it brings, not just for Vegas locals. There's people coming from all over the world to Circa Sports to come to Las Vegas to experience Ultimate Contest Weekend, to be a part of Survivor. They're sending videos from where they're back home. It's bringing their communities together with this. So I think it's more about just the money and trying to win. Of course, it's a huge part of it, and you can with all that guaranteed money. But I think the sense of community that it does bring together is really special. And I mean, after seeing how packed that bar is every Sunday at the Circa Sportsbook, it makes you want to come every Sunday. I cover the Raiders, so unfortunately I won't be here every Sunday.
Raiders have a bye week? Or, well, did they play on a Monday this year?
I will be at the Dominican Republic during their bye week. I'm taking full advantage.
Do they have a Monday game this year? Or a Thursday game?
No primetime games this year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So maybe next year. Maybe next year. But no, I think that is a side aspect that really kind of just brings out everybody, and it makes it such a cool environment to watch sports.
It's absolutely fantastic. Well, here's the thing at this point. Football and betting just kind of go hand in hand, right? I mean, football season's fantastic, but it's the monster that it is because of fantasy, because of betting. And the proliferation of sports betting around the country has really helped drive this thing for Circa, and they're active in multiple markets as well. But it brings us to kind of where we're at, which is there's an excitement. And it's not just for football season, but this is a football town now.
Yes.
You have the Raiders who are here, obviously. I don't think the autumn wind has done much to invigorate the football fans out here, but UNLV has, and this is the start.
I don't know about that.
Don't do the Raider beat writer thing where you stick up for him at every turn.
No. But when you're talking about excitement, yes, the Raiders are not going to be a playoff team this year. I would be very, very shocked. Stranger things have happened. However, I think with all the newness, with the new set of the culture, which we're going to get into later on in the show, there is some excitement, not just for Raiders fans in California or across the country, but for Vegas as well, because this is the first time that this local market can see an NFL team look like they're doing the right things and go in the right direction. Because last year with Pete Carroll, I mean, honestly, I was not covering the Raiders, but the second that I saw that they were going with Geno Smith, in my brain I was like, oh, so they're tanking.
Yeah.
So, and then there was a lot of decisions throughout the season and all that, but I think with the way that they have started this year with the offseason, they've made all the right moves. I don't think there's really a move that they didn't make, maybe not getting a wide receiver, but, so I think that I will rebuttal and say that there's excitement for both UNLV and the Raiders.
Sure. My statement is not that there is no excitement for the Raiders. I would say that I don't think there's really any question that this is the most anticipated football season for UNLV in its program's history.
For sure.
And there is a lot of expectation for this program now, and that gets started Saturday night when Memphis comes down here to take on the Rebels in what is essentially a college football playoff elimination game. Right. I mean, both of these teams could respectively win their conferences, be up for that group of 6 spot in the college football playoff, and so a victory over the other is going to go a long way toward deciding this. But for UNLV, this is such a big deal, and they've been, and this I talk about this because we're going to talk to Caleb Herring coming up here in a little bit. I think what's so exciting about this, Brandy, is so for the Raiders, right, there's excitement, and you have Fernando Mendoza, but there's no denying that this has been a moribund franchise for a very long time, and they've not really done anything. UNLV, obviously, they mirror one another, that the program has been like that. But 3 straight years of 10-plus wins, 3 consecutive Mountain West Championship game appearances, 3 consecutive losses in the Mountain West Championship game, all to Boise State. But what's cool about this season is we have now crossed the Rubicon into expectation. Now it's not a cool story. Now it's not, oh, cool, UNLV, we're winning games. This is awesome. Now it's like, no. All right, we've been to the conference title game 3 years in a row. Now it's time to win that thing, especially when the team that took you down each of the last 3 years decided to pack its bags and go to the Pac-12. This is a really big year for UNLV football, and it's so interesting to see that there is such a difference, and I would never have thought this before. If you told me the NFL was coming to Las Vegas, but that the expectations were higher for UNLV football at one point, like you were like, no way. Win total for UNLV is at 8.5. They're the favorite to win the Mountain West. Meanwhile, the Raiders, 5.5. They're last in the AFC West by odds.
Yeah.
Minus 900 to miss the playoffs, which means you bet $900, you only win 100. They are heavily favored to miss the playoffs. But I got to tell you, man, it is an interesting year for both of these teams. There's championship expectations for one of them, and then you're a burgeoning, growing franchise with potentially Fernando Mendoza getting his start. It's really interesting to see where these two programs / franchises are at right now.
Yeah, and you mentioned UNLV, and I think from listening to I've listened to a lot of Dan Mullen's, the head coach's press conferences, and how he talks about his program, and he understands those expectations, and he, for the most part, from what I've noticed, and you can say better because you've been out at the practices, he pushes his team to be that, because at this point, what's the excuse? It's just unfortunate the way the schedule rolled out, because, I mean, they've got week 1, all right. Are we going to make the college football playoff? Yep. Boom, let's find out right away, which is unfortunate for this team in that sense, but maybe not. Maybe not, because this is that big of a game, and it's not just week 1. It's not just their first game of the season. It's, can you live up to that expectation? Let's find out right now. And then they're on the road to Hawaii. Yep. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough first couple weeks for UNLV, but I like the direction I like the way that Dan Mullen leads this team and leads this program. But from you being out there, do you kind of see that? Because, I mean, talk is cheap, right, at the end of the day.
Sure. No, I mean, I would. So I'll go back to, when you asked the question, I go back to This is a couple of practices ago, but we were sitting in the scrum, and he was asked about the quarterbacks. It was right after they had their scrimmage, and he was asked about how they performed, and he kind of laughed, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said, if you want compliments for the quarterbacks, he's like, you're asking the wrong guy. He's like, I'm not going to compliment him. He's like, the things that we focus on are the things that I focus on. Also the negatives so they can get better. And I think I like that, right? Like, personally, I like being yelled at. Not in a weird way, but, like, I like being yelled at, right? I like criticism because you can't get better without criticism and those sort of things. And so if you can take it constructively, then you can be better at it. And Mullen seems to be that guy. It's actually why I liked Odom as well. Odom was very much like that, too. Odom was one of the ones that kind of started no, we don't want to be a cute story anymore. We want you to be mad when we don't win these games. We want you to be upset about this because that means that you have expectations that we have set because we've had success. And it's the same thing with Mullen here, too. So, no, I do think that's interesting. So, I think this growth is going to be real. I'm glad you pointed out the schedule. I hear a lot of national pundits talk about how easy this schedule is, and I don't get it. You have Memphis to start. You've got to take a tough road trip to Hawaii. Yes, North Texas and Akron are on that schedule, but they're difficult. They're road trips. And then you have to come back to face Cal, who has, I will tell you this right now, a guy who's going to be the top pick in his draft class, and Jaron Cave-Sango-Pulatele playing quarterback. The lefty is absolutely awesome. And so that is a schedule that could present a lot of opportunity, but could present a lot of roadblocks for you. And that's even before you get into conference play. So I am really anticipating this. I wanted to ask you, because this is the nice balance about this show. I'm rocking the red because I just bought this shirt. By the way, I got this shirt. So
he's wearing a red UNLV polo.
I am. And this is not fandom. I was just like, let me see how this fits. Let me see how this, you know what I mean? I haven't worn red for a while.
I am wearing black. I wear a lot of black, though. So
I'm sure. I don't know.
You know what's funny? So the Raiders, they play their last preseason game against the 49ers tonight, which I will be at 5 o'clock. I'm actually going to wear blue.
There we go. See, neutral. There we go. We liked it. But
I'm a neutral journalist. But that's how I roll.
Visually strikes the balance of where we're at.
Oh, yeah.
I've covered UNLV football more often. You have been with the Raiders.
Yeah.
So when you see 5.5 for a win total for the Raiders, when you see 20-1 to win the AFC West, when you see minus 900 to miss the playoffs, is that accurate for this team, the way you've seen?
Yes, I think 5.5 is actually pretty nice.
Okay.
I think that. So let me just go through. I did two different schedules. So a realistic Raiders schedule, a win-loss record. I have them going 5-12.
Okay.
And I have Fernando Mendoza making his start on the road against New York when they play the Jets.
What week is that?
That is
She's counting.
Week 8.
Okay.
Week 8, I believe. Yeah. I didn't write the week numbers on there, optimistically,
okay,
I have them going 7-10.
Okay.
That's extremely optimistic. They have one of the hardest schedules in the NFL. I don't know why that happened.
Let me ask you this. I'm going to interrupt them with a question. If the best situation happens, so they win those 7 games, that means Fernando Mendoza does not play, correct?
I think here's the thing. That's a great point. I think that Fernando Mendoza will make his start this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he could win. So right now, no matter what, these are the teams that they're going to lose to. They're going to lose to the Chargers week 2. They're going to beat Miami. They're going to start off the season with the win because Miami is just really bad. Mm-hmm. They're really bad. And then the Raiders, although, yes, they had the number 1 pick last year. I understand that. Yep. They're not as bad.
Okay. Raiders are 3-point favorites, 3.5-point favorites in that game.
And a favorite is a favorite.
Yep.
I have them beating Miami. I have them beating the Saints. Lose. I have Fernando Mendoza.
You have them beating the Saints, huh?
I do.
Interesting.
I do. Well, if you think about it, Tyler Shue, if I'm saying Shuck, yeah. Excuse me.
It's a weird name. Yeah.
Sorry, Tyler. I have them this is going to be his second year. He's still a pretty young quarterback. I just don't think that he's going to really be any match. Max Crosby will definitely be on the team. He's going to be on the team this year. Also, part of that goes into this optimism in 7-10 is if Max Crosby continues to be a Raider the rest of the year. We don't know what's going to happen. I would like to think that he finishes his career as a Raider. I think that's what he and the staff want. But if we go back to the realistic Raider schedule where they've only won 5 games, they're losing a lot of games. Yeah. And there's going to be teams that are looking for an edge rusher in Max Crosby. So but we're getting off track.
No.
I do have them beating, so then they're going to go on a really big loss. They're going to lose to the Chiefs, lose to the Patriots, lose to the Bills, lose to the Rams. I mean, come on,
Sure.
That's a tough little run. By then, I think they're going to give up on Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
Not unless Kirk Cousins picks up a win in any of these games against these great teams. Granted, the defense has to play well, but I think the defense is going to be a little bit better than people think. And then Fernando Mendoza is going to get his start on the road against New York. And they're going to lose to the 49ers. They're going to lose to the Seahawks, lose to the Broncos, lose to the Browns. Everybody's going to be like, oh, my God, this is terrible. They have their bye week. He's going to come back and beat the Chargers. I don't think the Chargers are going to sweep the Raiders.
Okay.
And they're going to lose to the Broncos, lose to the Titans. They're going to beat the Cardinals, and they're going to beat Kansas City. Now, in optimism, I think that they could make this win against the Browns.
Okay, yeah.
Because by then, I'm assuming that Shedeur Sanders will be the starting quarterback.
Who knows who's going to play at that point? But it's going to be a nightmare.
So
but I'm glad you're realistic.
I am.
That's the positive thing.
I mean, I am. And I think, obviously, this goes without saying, there has to be no injuries. I think also the reason that, the Chargers, they have a lot of injuries right now, which is a tough way to start the season.
Starting center Tyler Biadasz done for the year. That's a big one.
That's a huge one. And especially for a new OC and Mike McDaniel who likes to run the ball a lot, that's going to be a huge issue. The Chargers are once again to start training camp, I guess. Great roster. Mm-hmm. They're gonna, and then of course when they start the season, they're gonna have all these injuries, and then who knows if Justin Herbert has to stay healthy, all that stuff. So I think that the Raiders, realistically, can win 5 games. Optimistically, 7-10. I would love to be shocked. It would be great for the Raiders if by the end of the season, they just kind of they could beat the Broncos. Let's just say they beat the Broncos. I think the Broncos are going to sweep them. Let's just say they beat the Broncos and then befuddle their playoff chances, because the AFC West is such a gauntlet. They're all going to be fighting for a playoff spot, except for the Raiders. So they could play spoilers. But yeah, I do think that Fernando Mendoza will get his start by the Jets if Kirk Cousins can't win any of those games against really good teams.
Well, 7 wins would be a ceiling for them.
Amazing.
7 wins would be a disappointment for UNLV. So
100%.
Let's take a break here. On the other side, Caleb Herring's going to join us, former UNLV quarterback, color analyst for UNLV Radio as well, who, by the way, he'll be out at the coaches show later tonight to discuss everything with Dan Mullen. But let's talk about this season debut for this version of the Rebels next with Caleb Herring. It's Brandy Flores, Jonathan Von Tobel, live from Galaxy Ballroom at Circa.
Back to JVT and Brandy, live from the Circa Resort and Casino.
Galaxy Ballroom is the spot. Circa, the spot downtown. Jonathan Von Tobel, Brandy Flores here with you on this Thursday, celebrating contest weekend. Football, really, as week 0 is just days away. And the game that I would argue is the most important, not just for us out here in Las Vegas, but I have been calling it essentially a CFP eliminator game that has the potential to be just that if both teams take care of business the way they expect to. UNLV and Memphis, no better person to talk about it with than Caleb Herring, UNLV radio analyst, and of course, former quarterback for the Rebels. Caleb, am I blowing too much steam up the rear end of UNLV and Memphis? Am I doing too much, or am I right? Is this a college football playoff game eliminator? Could this be a play-in game essentially in week 0 of the college football season?
I agree with you. I think the way both of these teams have the ability to impact that narrative, who could be the group of 6 representative in the college football playoff, I think absolutely this game could become a deciding factor. Obviously, there's a full season of football to be played. Anything could happen, right? There's so much potential for the year, but this is the first of many key games throughout the season that has major playoff implications. I know UNLV has high expectations internally on what they should be by the end of the year, and the community as well. One of the most highly anticipated seasons in UNLV history, at least in recent memory. I challenge anyone to find a more anticipated season for UNLV and this program. And then Memphis has been that steady presence in the group of 5 in recent years. I know they have a new coaching staff and everything's new about the program with all the transfers, but they've made a name for themselves on the national landscape as a team that's teetering on the edge of being relevant among the big boys, right? So this matchup early on for both teams is an early test for sure, and could definitely determine a lot of things for the group of 6 competition as far as CFP spots at the end of the year. So it's exciting to have great matchups like this early in the year, like get things going. College football is here, and UNLV and Memphis look to announce that loud and proud on Saturday.
Yep, and it's a later game too, so that'll be fun. We also get to see a new face, and not another new face, but a new face in the conference on week 0 with North Dakota State. Maybe we can get into that if we have a little bit of time. And I'm glad you said that, because I was in studio the other day, my main gig of Easton for 12:30, over at 12:30 the game on the AM channel, and I said that. I was like, no, I think this is like one of the most, if not the most anticipated seasons in UNLV football history. And they looked at me, they were like, well, what about like last year, for example? And my caveat was, Yeah, this year, though, the conference is different. This year, this is an anticipated season because the expectation the last couple of years was like, hey, this is nice. This is, you were still in the first few months of your relationship, right? You guys were still okay. You were holding in your farts. You were, you guys were still in the puppy dog stage. But now we got expectations, my man. Like now, Boise, the team that's eliminated the last 3 years, is gone. All these other teams are gone, and you are the team right now. And I think that's why there's this anticipation. And I think this is the cool part, Caleb. I think we finally crossed the Delaware, if you will. And I always give Barry Odom credit for this to an extent. And I can't remember exactly what he said when he was here. But essentially, we have now changed from this is a cool story to, you know what? We want this now as a fan base. Go win a title. Go win a Mountain West title. We expect that this is going to be something that should happen. And I think that makes this season one of the most rare, if not like the most rare seasons for UNLV football ever.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on with all those points. I think what helps that narrative along is the fact that they were denied access 3 years in a row by that same big dog in Boise State, right? Like making it to the big dance, making it to the conference championship and being turned away. Hate to say it, but kind of emphatically in most of those matchups where Boise kind of controlled those things. Remove that boogeyman right from the equation, and it's like, well, yeah, now you should be the top dog. That's the expectation now. It's like, and it's a different type of pressure. And I agree. When Barry Odom was here, he wanted to make winning normal. I think that was one of his tasks, is changing the culture, not only in the locker room, which he did very successfully. The guys in the locker room believed, I think, from day one under Barry Odom, but the community has gradually gotten to the point where they also expect winning, and it's not like a shocked win. And look no further than last year, Dan Mullen, who had what I believe a 6-0 start to the season, but there were closely contested games, and UNLV fans didn't even realize it, but their expectations had shifted to, well, that close game isn't good enough. We should have blew that team out of the water. And it's like, that's a subtle thing that maybe at the time doesn't feel comfortable, but it speaks to the point you're making where we're expecting to win now in Las Vegas. Like that's a thing, and nobody thought it would be a thing 6 years ago. But Dan Mullen stepped up to the challenge, got the team back to the conference championship, and with the new conference realignment, the expectation is you should be in the Mountain West championship game and win it. And if not, I think people really would feel disappointment here in the UNLV fan base.
Caleb Herring with us, former UNLV quarterback, also color analyst for the UNLV football radio broadcast, which will be heard here on ESPN Las Vegas. By the way, it is Thursday. Today will be the first coaches show. Later today over at, I believe it's Sierra Gold, correct, on Jones and 215. I will be there a little bit later today, so make sure you come down, say hi to Caleb, listen to Dan Mullen as we get ready for, as we have already established, and Caleb and I are always right, so it doesn't matter, the most anticipated UNLV football season ever. All right, let's focus on this game first before we get into some more big picture stuff with the conference. We have some time. The quarterback controversy. So I have been fighting the good fight on social media, and I will say this, you're too nice, but I'm going to say it. People are so stupid. I'm sorry, but they are so stupid. So Mullen comes out, and he just says both quarterbacks are going to play. I was in the initial scrum when he said it the first time in practice. Then he reiterated it at media availability the early portion of this week after the practice on Monday. Now, people ran with it and are saying, oh, my God, they're having a quarterback battle that is stretching into the regular season. They're screwed. Caleb, tell me if I'm wrong, but if Alex Orji comes out, because I will put my cards on the table right now. I believe Jackson Arnold is the starting quarterback and the quarterback that will get the most snaps at the position, a vast majority of the snaps at the position, if healthy, with that caveat. If Alex Orji plays in, I don't know, a wildcat package, or just some change of pace plays, that means both quarterbacks play. That does not mean a battle is ensuing on the field. What have you made of what's going on? Who do you believe is going to get? Because I know Mullen tried to play the game of like, well, if Jet Thomas, if we come out in 5 wide, Jet Thomas doesn't start. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Who
is the guy at quarterback, and what is your expectation for the role of both Jackson Arnold and Alex Orji for this game against Memphis?
Well, here's the first thing I'll say is you showed your hand before the river card, and that's just a no-no, right?
Yeah.
Don't do that.
But no, stupid, you think?
No, but no, I think here's the thing about, first, let's talk about Mullen's angle, because I think every head coach wants a degree of secrecy, and you see that on the other side with Huff. He's doing the same thing with me. He's playing the same kind of game when it comes to that, answering the question, showing the depth chart. Whatever he can get away with doing, he's going to do in terms of secrecy. Mullen's doing the same thing most coaches do. here's the caveat. I think Mullen's telling the truth in a lot of ways. And look no further than last year, right? We had the same situation where there's a quarterback battle between Calandra and Orji. He said then both quarterbacks will play. The first play of the game, both quarterbacks were on the field, and they ran a double pass, right? Orji went on to lead the first drive, a commanding drive for the most part. He had the turnover in that game that cost him, I think, and people had a sour taste. Then, obviously, Calandra took over. The Orji injury during the season kind of made it Calandria's show. But I believe Dan Mullen, based on his track record, when he says both will play. How far that extends, how much of a 50-50 split that is, I don't know. But I'm willing to bet, and he said this kind of jokingly, you get a Corvette, you don't park it in the garage. Alex Orji is an absolute Corvette. And Jackson Arnold obviously was brought in while he was injured. So if you're asking my opinion, I think Jackson from the spring had a leg up. He may have been the clear number one outside of spring when Orji was still recovering. Orji closed the gap in fall camp and put enough good film up, good tape up to say, no, I'm a legit threat to the starting position, if you want to call it that. So I don't know if that gap is as defined as it once was. But I do believe that with this offense and with his genius and the way Dan Mullen approaches offensive schematics and game planning and prep, I don't doubt that both quarterbacks will play a significant role in the season if they remain healthy. I think that was the goal for last year with Orji and Calandra. The injury kind of debunked that. But if you had to ask me gun to the head right now, I'd say based on the last thing I saw, Jackson Arnold probably did still have the slight lead in the competition. But Orji's not far off being the number one guy. Neither would surprise me. And Dan Mullen, I think, is just being honest in a playful way when he says both quarterbacks will play. You guys figure it out. But look no further than last year to figure out what he means by that. They will both play.
Yep. And by the way, then Anthony Calandra went on to win Offensive Player of the Year in the conference and then go and get a bag in Nebraska. So I think everything's going to be okay, but we'll see what happens as it moves along. All right, time's limited again. Caleb's with us. So we, by the way, are live out at the Galaxy Ballroom, Circa, downtown. It is contest week, so make sure you come down. We're celebrating all things football. Week 0 is here. The NFL season is right around the corner as well. Circa, of course, the spot to sign up for all your football contests, Circa Survivor, and the millions. $1,000 entry gets you into either one of those things. Absolutely a ton of fun. I'll be in both. It's going to be an absolute blast. And this is contest week. So all the smart guys are down here too. Come down, say what's up, and pick some brains on how you play some of these football contests. All right. I want to go to defense real quick before we get you out of here. And then one big picture question. I'll ask this generally about the defense. Is there a position that worries you? Is there a position that you're most excited about? I'll kind of leave it open-ended. What is this about the defense that you're most intrigued by? It could be positive or negative.
I think I'm most intrigued by the secondary, obviously the added depth. And in year 2, the secondary had some holes, and most of it was because of miscommunications, coverage bust, as is the story most of the time with secondaries. I think this group has talent. And I think when they're on the same page and when they're locked in, they can do that. I think guys are playing in better position, like in terms of the scheme of the defense. They're being asked to do what they're more comfortable doing. And I think Jake Pope, Mumu Bin Wahad, those guys, and also with Fuller getting some more reps at safety in the back end, I think those type of things that were missing last year, just without the experience in the system, kind of a change in staff late in the spring, really to install stuff. I think it showed a lot in the fall. I think the improvements at linebacker from a vocal standpoint, that leader in the locker room, that leader on the field, I think they have that a little bit more from the linebacker group. That will help the secondary. I'm excited to see that. The position I would worry about is the defensive line. Obviously, there's some legal issues that could hamper that as the season progresses. The depth might not be there, and I think they kind of banked on, at least in the recruiting, having guys back that were going to be big players, big figures in the front line that might not be available, and we'll see how that shakes out with the legal process. But that will be the area of concern, as it always is with UNLV defensively. Can they hold up in the trenches so they don't have to blitz to add pressure? They don't have to add guys to the box to stop the run and then expose the back end unnecessarily. So I think that's going to be the story of the season. Within the big picture of the defense being any kind of improved from last year, I think makes the difference in this year for UNLV, who was already a 10-win team. If they, with that defense performing the way it did, if they perform better, get to average defense, like I think they'll have some success. But that's going to be a definite storyline as the season goes on.
If UNLV does not win the Mountain West and achieve the goals that it wants, who is the team that gets in its way?
This is a tough one. I know New Mexico at the end of the year looked like a big hurdle to finish the year off, kind of that last 5 games, if you're in position. I honestly think the stumbling block for the Rebels is early in the season. And I would say, for whatever reason, I don't know, call it my intuition, I think Hawaii is that team. I think Hawaii, one, can knock UNLV off early and catch them in Hawaii on the island. It's always tough to play there. They're looking for revenge, and they've got some moxie about them as far as what we've seen from them this offseason. They figure to be competitive. If they can sneak one against UNLV that plays a role later in the season, in terms of like looking at ties and tiebreaker situations, that could be a potential issue for UNLV. So I always mark Hawaii as one of those teams, especially this season. We'll see how it goes. But Hawaii and then New Mexico, if they can get their situation with quarterback and injuries figured out before the season starts, they got some stuff to deal with as well. And I think they'll kind of regress to the mean as well. New Mexico had a spectacular year last year. I don't think they'll have that again in year 2, but we'll see. We will see. I think Hawaii, though, if I had to pick the stumbling block this year.
Couldn't agree more. Caleb Herring again, UNLV color analyst, and of course former quarterback. Caleb, thank you very much on a Thursday morning. And I don't know if you know this, but I'll be working with you guys a little bit more this year, so I'm very excited to be around again for a football season, and I will see you on Saturday.
I've heard. I'm excited for that opportunity to work with you. See you guys at the Coach Show tonight.
Back to JVT and Brandy, live from the Circa Resort and Casino.
Yeah, we are live. Galaxy Ballroom is where we are at. Come on up and say what's up. I mean, I don't care. I know there's security here. I'll let you in. You can come say hi.
Security here is pretty light, though. You guys could just barrage on past.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, Aaron Oster's over there. I mean, Aaron's kind of a stud. He'd stop anybody that comes our way. You know what I mean? So
I do feel protected.
Yeah.
But come say hi.
So I always like to get into the debate, a man's man or a guy's guy, and what's the difference? Aaron Oster, a man's man. I think there's really no doubt about that at this point right now. So I have a lot of different places I could go. I could stick to the rundown, but I'm not that kind of a guy. We'll get to all the Raider stuff that you have. I don't know much about you, Brandy. I learn a little bit more here and there the times that we have hung out. And I think that you would probably fall on the side of being upset by this, but I'm not entirely sure yet.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yesterday we got some news. We're going to talk about the college football players and the exodus and all that kind of stuff and going back and forth. I don't care about that. The big news we got yesterday was that during college football games, ESPN is getting rid of the ticker.
Really?
See, are you upset by this?
I'm a little shocked because the ticker's always brought to you by. It's a selling point.
I mean, I don't think ESPN really sells it too much. I haven't seen a ton of ads there. Usually it's
Maybe
just
you're
like
right.
promoting, shows.
Again,
stores.
free promo.
It is, yeah. But they're getting rid of the ticker so you can focus more on the broadcast.
I don't understand that. I'm kind of against it because I'm kind of against it, not majorly though, because if I'm watching a game,
take a stand. You either for it or against it. This is the problem today.
I'm thinking of a business perspective because why would you not? It's a miss to not promote your other things.
Sure.
It's free promo when there's a primetime game on ESPN. I don't understand that. So I don't understand that from that perspective. I'm against it in that. Actually, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Now that I talk more about it, I'm talking myself into being more against it. Because if I'm watching a game, I'm paying attention to the game. I'm not so distracted by the ticker. And then every once in a while, your eyes go down to you're looking at the score and you're like, oh, look it. So-and-so's winning. Oh, dang, they're losing. Oh, are they doing that so you don't tune away when you do see the updated scores?
Okay, so here's the thing. I hate the ticker. I hope it burns in hell. I cannot wait for it to be gone. It is stupid. It takes up real estate on my screen that I don't want to be distracted by.
It is so small.
It is not small. It is not. You think it is? I'm going to pull up an image right now.
All right.
It is not what you think it is at all.
Well,
you will look at this and you will say, oh, I didn't realize it was
actually
that big.
Is the product that bad that you were so distracted by the ticker?
Yes, I think it's awful. And so, because here's the thing.
Hear that, college football?
I'm very happy by it. Here's the other thing, and I always like to ask this question. I have lots of different questions that I like to ask. One of them is not appropriate for air. I'll ask you afterwards. One of my favorite icebreakers that has led to some tremendous stories. The other, though, is
that I'm not excited about.
When was the last time you looked at a ticker and saw truly earth-shattering breaking news? Because I know for me. I know exactly what it was and where I was.
Okay.
It was the day Andrew Luck retired, and I was watching a Hawaii football game, and the ticker flashed red, and I was like, here we go. Because what they always do is it's like, it's breaking news, and then it's like a score. And I'm like, I've seen the game. Like, I know, okay?
Well, if you're watching that game, how could you see the score for the other game?
Because you have multiple screens. Because that's the other part, too. Stop acting like you're getting the screen. You're on your phone all the time. Not just you, but everybody. Like, everybody's on their phone.
Sure.
I can check scores whenever it is. But I'm watching the Hawaii game the day Andrew Luck retires. So the thing flashes red. It's breaking news. I'm like, here we go. It's like another college football score I've already watched. It's week 0, like whatever. And then it says, Andrew Luck retiring. And I'm sitting in my living room, and I sit up, and I'm like, there's no way. And so I flip my phone because I've been watching. Yes, I'm a Colts fan. Yeah, so you know that context now. So I grab my phone and I flip it over. I've got like 20 text messages, and I'm like, there's no way this is real. Like, I was freaking out.
How unfortunate that's how you find out.
Yes, but
now this is a personal beef that you have with tickers because you found out that your favorite quarterback. That's why. So you have bias.
It might be trauma. It might be trauma that I am unloading on the ticker.
Okay, so
That's a lot more real estate than you thought, isn't it?
Yeah, but that doesn't make me. Never have I ever thought, ever once watching any game on any channel, oh my God, I wish they would get rid of that. Because when they do the replays, when I'm really paying attention, I need all to see every single inch of the screen, they take away the ticker.
No. See, I'll take this one step further. I want us to go back to the days of the 80s and the 90s. So remember, I don't know if you remember when or if you watched old highlights.
I was born in 97.
Yeah, in case you watch old highlights. I was born in 90. Act like I was born in 70. Relax.
I'm just making sure. I like to brag that I'm younger.
Yeah, I know. Hey, Brandy, you're about to be 30. Like, you don't get to brag anymore.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm about to be 30.
But like in the old sporting events, remember when they wouldn't have the score bug on the whole time. Mm-hmm. So you would just watch the game, and then frequently they would just kind of refresh the score. They would put it up and then take it down. Bring me back to that.
And sometimes they do like up in the corner.
Sure.
They'll flash the scores. I don't mind seeing scores from because as you mentioned, you can always check on your phone. I'm always checking on my phone what the scores are, but I don't mind seeing it. Also, I don't mind the breaking news either. I just don't mind it. I really don't mind it. It does not bother me. And so that's why I go back to, am I against it? No. I just think from a business perspective, it makes no sense. But, oh, my God, I think this is the first time I've ever seen ESPN want to do something for the viewers because it thinks that would make their viewing experience better. So maybe this is the beginning of a new era. We're headed in the right direction.
Some have argued that they'll bring the ticker back and just scroll Pat McAfee lyrics on the bottom entire time. Just like one-liners for Pat McAfee. Or his album. You didn't listen to his album?
He has an album?
You're lying. You don't know about this?
No.
Oh, yeah. He released a full studio album.
When?
Like a week ago.
Who's on it?
It's Pat McAfee. What are you talking about? You think he has an ego enough that you would allow somebody else to be on that album?
Imagine him, and I would love to hear him and Max Crosby on a song.
Oh, trust me. Well, first off, yes, that would be hilarious. Second,
listen, hold on.
Now I'm going to play this for you during the break.
Hold on, listen. I know Max Crosby gets a lot of flack for his songs. Let me just say this. I think that the song that when he was on with Darren Waller was good when he was featured on that song. He has a decent voice. I just think that, and I know he enjoys listening.
Auto-tune, but yeah.
I think that, no, that's his voice when you hear him talk. Like, he has a decent cadence, like when he does speak and when he raps. The issue is the lyrics. But I've asked Max about this.
Brand new crib in the Bay. Yeah.
I've asked Max about this. Do you write your own lyrics? And he's like, yeah, it's something I'm really passionate about. That's the whole reason he raps. So I don't think that that's going to stop. But I do think that if Max just gets a ghostwriter and he can contribute, we might be headed somewhere. I see the potential. But I feel, well, and maybe he'll listen to this. If Max, what's up, if you're listening to this, that's just my advice. I would feel bad, though, going up to him in person, being like, hey, you'd be so much better if you didn't write your own raps. The thing that you're so passionate about, the writing aspect, stop doing it.
I mean, you kind of told it to his face, and you're like, so you write your own lyrics, huh?
That's not how I asked.
You're saying it without saying
That's not how I asked, but
it's like when
maybe that did register.
It's like the story I told you guys earlier when I was trying to get back in here, and the guy looked at me and said, wearing that, huh? Like, come on, like, that's a question that says, like, I don't know, brother.
Well, I didn't say it like that. I said it much. I forget what the exact question I asked. But yeah.
You know who I think would agree with me on the score bug? Like, we don't need the score anymore. Let's just watch the games. Raiders fans, because they're always getting their asses kicked. So let's talk about this team.
What a transition.
It's an exciting year. You can't deny. Now, the excitement, I think, is more about Fernando Mendoza whenever he shows up on the field, whenever that may be. Mm-hmm. I think we're all in agreement first month or two, the goal. I mean, I keep saying this.
First month.
Well, and you've been around the team more, but I would say this, just watching press conferences, kind of understanding what Kubiak has said, all these sort of things. I think if you gave them truth serum, Kubiak would say the perfect season means Fernando does not play, maybe one game, but that means that Kirk Cousins has been great, and they're like pushing for 9 wins and maybe making the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So they would be great. I'm saying that's they would love that.
Dream scenario.
Right. So, but I don't think that's going to happen. So let's start with the big picture here, because I said going back to last offseason, or going back to the end of last season, what I have liked the most is this franchise has seemingly turned the corner to progressive football and team building, right? And I don't mean like liberal progressive. I mean like they are now forward thinking. They played for the first overall pick properly. They traded Max Crosby for assets. It didn't work out, but they were willing to trade Max Crosby for assets. They seem willing to, or not seem willing, I won't skip that point. They hire a younger head coach with an offensive mind to help develop then the subsequent first overall pick in Fernando Mendoza. These are all steps that I think shows that they are trying to move forward, right? There's no retread at Pete Carroll. There's none of that. They're really moving forward with the way that they have decided to do things. Do you think that from a culture standpoint that has manifested in what you have seen at these practices that you have watched and the press conferences you have been a part of?
Yes. And the reason I say that is no. Well, let me preface this by saying this is my first year covering the Raiders. I'm at every single practice, training camp. I've been to every preseason game so far. There's only 2. But I'll be at the one tonight.
I've been every one.
Every single one. But no, and I've been able to talk and just getting a sense of the players and when we ask them about the culture, because this is Clint Kubiak's first time as a head coach. And by the way, a big reason he even chose the Raiders was because they had that first pick, because he knew Fernando was coming. Mm-hmm. And so from your standpoint, everything has been planned. And I will say Clint Kubiak, a lot of these guys who are returners on the team, they have really adapted into what he believes. Yes, they brought in a bunch of new guys, and that's easy for anybody who's new on a team to really believe in the head coach, because a lot of these guys, especially these free agents, especially Tyler Linderbaum, who was the biggest get of the offseason for any team, but especially the Raiders, it's easy for them to believe and listen to the coach right away. For a lot of these returners, when you ask them what's it like, the difference, they say it's night and day. Not just from the coaching staff, which a lot of it is mixed with this coaching staff from guys who just came in the past, which Robbie Leonard, who was a defensive lines coach for his first year as a defensive coordinator, and a bunch of other position coaches as well who were here last year. They're all adapted into what Kubiak wants this team to run, and they believe in him. And especially these returning players, it could be easy for them to just sit there and be like, well, this is how I've always done it. I'm a professional. I don't believe. No, that's not what they believe. They want to win, and they understand that Clint Kubiak, who also helps that he just won a Super Bowl as an offensive coordinator with the Seahawks, they say that he is all ball. He cares about us, but he pushes us to be better. He called out the wide receiver group last week, which, they did need to be called out. And when you ask them about it the week after, and the coaching staff, it's like, no, yeah, we do need to be better. No, we do. We just got to come to work every day. And they seem very locked in. And I've said this before many times. For a lot of these guys, they're professionals, right? They've done things a certain way for so long. They don't. A lot of the time, some of these guys don't care if they sucked last year. Mm-hmm. They don't want to change their ways. That's not the case with anybody on this team. They almost sound like they're brainwashed when you ask them about the culture and how they want to be. There's no I in team. It's we. We're all about the team. It's not about my success, but I need to be successful for the team. It's all team. And, the power of friendship is extremely powerful, which is why I'm so optimistic that they'll win 7 games.
Could be.
But I do think that the culture is shifted for sure in that right direction, because it's a good sign that nobody on this team wants to suck. And yes, nobody on any NFL team wants to lose.
Does anybody want?
No, but
everybody out there's like, you know what, man, sucking sounds great today. Ooh, cut that.
But a lot of ego. There's a lot of ego, right? And there's no ego from anybody that we've spoken to on this team. In that sense.
Sorry, I was just laughing.
Yeah,
I think that went over Brandy's head.
Yeah, they might. No, I understood it. I just went. I just ignored it. But yeah, there's no egos when it comes to wanting to win. And even Max Crosby, when he came back, everybody thought, is it going to be awkward? Mm-hmm. Maybe it was. Obviously, we're not in the locker rooms. We don't know.
Could be, right.
according to sources, Max Crosby, he said that he called Coach Kubiak afterwards, and Coach Kubiak said, I'm taking all the coaches out to go drinking right now the second that they got Max back. And so I think that what we see from Kubiak is a very strict, no-nonsense guy in the press conferences, but then he'll throw out little isms like, yeah, there's no turds on this team. And it's just kind of funny, and he doesn't give us any information.
What are you talking about? He gave us a full breakdown of Ashton Jeanty, which ligaments were damaged, the timeline, everything like that.
Mind you, I don't think that we would probably get that from any head coach, but geez, nothing. Which, I mean, and I think I asked a player afterwards, like, about that whole situation, and even he was like, I can't talk about that. They're keeping everything in-house, everything under wraps, and they're really operating as one unit, and I don't think, especially speaking with a lot of the people who covered the Raiders for years, that's not something that this organization has seen. So from a culture standpoint, I think it's going to take a minute, and we'll probably find out midway through the season. Because everything's all hunky dory, wonderful right now. What's going to happen? What's going to happen when this team's losing 4 games in a row? When they're in a losing streak, that's going to be the true test. But I will say, I think that the mentality, and I think this team knows where they're at. They know how tough their division is, and everybody's truly bought in, and that is step one for a culture change. I've covered some pretty bad teams. And
you still are.
Well, and I'm saying before, like, I've covered some pretty bad teams, and when you have a new coach, when you have somebody trying to come in and change the culture, believe it or not, there are some guys who have been on that team for years. They're like, well, I don't like being yelled at this way, or I don't like being treated this way, because they have an ego. And eventually those guys get weeded out. There's, as Coach Kubiak said, direct quote, there's no turds on this team. So I will say that, yes, believe in it, JVT. You can be skeptical. Believe that the culture is shifting.
I, for one, am shocked that somebody around the team covering it is positive about the future.
What is that?
Every reporter or beat writer is very optimistic about a team.
I mean, yeah, especially because
well, here's the thing.
Considering the years past, I have no choice to be optimistic, because it's not the same thing over and over again, the same dumpster fire, making the same mistakes or anything like that.
I think the biggest problem is your forward-facing owner, not Mark Davis, is clearly going through a midlife crisis. And the leather pants and everything going on with Tom, I don't know.
What does that?
I don't know. I just don't like the leadership at the top.
Okay.
What do you mean? You're down with the leather pants?
I'm down with whatever Tom Brady does to help this team win, because I want to cover a winning team. That's what I want.
Rocking leather pants in a magazine ain't going to help. All right, let's continue the conversations about this on the other side. We continue to talk about the Raiders.
You're wearing skinny jeans right now.
No, I'm not.
He's
Levi
wearing
Edwards
skinny jeans right now, talking about Tom Brady's leather pants.
It's the Fantasy and Football Special with Brandy and JVT, live from the Circa Resort and Casino.
Galaxy Ballroom, come on down. Contest weekend here at Circa. Some would say the ultimate contest weekend. 2,836 entries so far in Circa Million. Do you remember the Roman numeral, Brandy Flores?
8.
There you go. You just remember the number. You don't know how to read Roman numerals. It's very disappointing. $3.1 million is the current overlay.
Who among us?
I schooled you on it, like, pretty quickly. Again, number, and then if it's to the right, you add. If it's to the left, you subtract.
Too much.
It's not really actually
it's like,
much at all.
No, too much.
12,842 entries in the Circa Survivor so far, $7.1 million overlay as it stands, and then Grandissimo, 31 total entries, $900,000 overlay. Vast majority of these entries, I shouldn't say vast majority, but a lot of these are going to come in here over contest weekend. A lot of those numbers will get cut down. We'll talk to Mike Palm, VP of Operations here at Circa and the D, about where we're at from a contest standpoint, entry standpoint. I was trying to convince Brandy a little bit earlier. All right, look, I'm willing to split the $100,000 entry.
The $100,000 entry?
I'm willing to split.
Doing a full entry myself, so
okay.
And I don't want to argue with you every week, figuring out who to pick.
That's a good point.
Or if we pre-plan it, I just don't want the argument. I feel like we have a very nice working relationship. I don't want to ruin that, because I think it could get ugly.
Well, it almost got ugly earlier when we were talking about the removal of the score bug. So let's bring in a neutral voice on this potentially. Levi Edwards is with us, digital reporter, Raiders.com, at the Levi Edwards. Levi, you can decide here between the two of us. I am very pro getting rid of the score bug, as we got the report yesterday. ESPN will do away with it for college football games. Or not the score bug, excuse me, the bottom line, the ticker. Are you pro or anti-removal of the ticker for college football games?
I got to be honest. I mean, I didn't really notice it at all during the ESPN broadcast for the NFL preseason so far. So they can do away with it. I didn't really notice it at all. I guess my eyes were too busy on the action. Pause. But at the same time, I would also say that just make the scoreboard, just make the bug bigger, just make it as visible as possible, for four-eyed people like me to see. So I can always know what the score is. I'm not worried about a tick. I'm not worried about another ticker.
That's a hot take. Make the scoreboard bigger.
Yeah.
Are you blind? Can you not see?
He wears glasses.
Well, so do I, but what's the question here? How blind are we talking, Levi?
Heavens to circles for sure. Yeah.
Like my mom's legally blind. Like she crosses the threshold into legally blind. Are you that blind?
No.
Okay, all right, good.
That would be really tough. I think it'd be really tough for him to do his job.
I was going to say
Raiders practices every day.
It'd be pretty difficult.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about what you watch with your allegedly troubled eyes here at this point right now. The Raiders, obviously, we are getting closer and closer to the regular season. Brandy and I have talked a lot about a lot of different things, but I'm curious, as you've watched this team, you can go wherever you want with this, offense, defense, positional. What has stuck out to you the most in these practices in this preseason that has caught your eye when you have watched them be either positive or negative for the Raiders?
Well, I gotta go with the positive, and the fact of the matter is that this offense will just be better simply off of one position group being improved, and that's the offensive line. Last year, Geno Smith was the most sacked quarterback in the entire NFL, and the offensive line ranked 32 out of 32 in terms of time given up for quarterbacks in the pocket, whether it be sacks allowed. It just wasn't good. So what the Raiders did is they went out and they broke the bank on the center, who obviously a lot of people are like, okay, well, your splash free agent signing is a center. How great can your free agent class be? But it was so necessary. Just with Tyler Lindenbaum being there at center, it really just makes that unit so much better than what they were last year, especially because you had a lot of guys on that offensive line last year playing out of position. You had a guy that had never played center at center. You took your two guards and you put them at two completely different spots than what they're accustomed to. It was just, and then on top of that, you had injuries with your left tackle, your anchor of your line, that blind side. He gets hurt week 3, and then you're scrapping for depth. So I've just seen that unit just be coached up really well. Tyler Lindenbaum being brought in, and it's going to create a lot of big plays for a lot of people. It's going to give you time. It's going to give Kirk Cousins time to actually be able to be back there in the pocket, make plays. It's going to give Ashton Jeanty the ability to make some big runs along with Mike Washington, who they just drafted. It's just going to make everything so much better because you don't have an offense if your offensive line can't block.
Yeah, and Levi, you mentioned Ashton Jeanty, Mike Washington, the two running backs. Obviously, we all watch Ashton Jeanty go down at practice. Reports are saying that it's an ankle injury. We don't know the severity of it, if he's going to be in or out week 1, but let's just sit here and pretend that he's not playing week 1. The rookie running back, Mike Washington, gets his shot. Is the offensive line, in your opinion, going to be good enough to where anybody could succeed, or do you think that it's still there's still going to be a lot of issues because we have a rookie in the backfield?
I definitely believe that Ashton Jeanty is a special talent, and what is the drop-off from Ashton Jeanty to Mike Washington? I'm not sure. I think Ashton Jeanty is certainly a much better pass. He's a much better pass catcher, route runner for sure, just at this stage in his career. So I think that element of not having him on the field will be huge. But if we're just talking purely off of running the ball up the middle, or we're talking about anything from outside zone blocking run schemes or anything like that for Mike Washington or him having to run, I don't think the drop-off will be that tremendous. I think that he has shown that he will be able to go in there and know what he's going to be able to do in the run game, be able to go do his assignment, run through the right gaps, do all the things that is necessary to be able to pick up yards, because he's already done that in practice every day from what me and you have seen, Brandy. He's already done that in the preseason. He's currently leading all AFC running backs in rushing yards this preseason. Big runs, 6'1" guy. He's 6'1", but then I see him in the locker room and I see him around. He looks 6'2", 6'3". Mike Washington might be the first time where somebody might be lying about their height, about being shorter on the website or on their stats, because he claims he's 6'1", 220. It might be a little more than that. He's a big dude, and he can run a 4.3. It's just very troubling to figure out how the Raiders even got this guy in the 4th round at Arkansas. It might just be because he went to 3 schools. I don't know what it is, but I believe that Mike Washington would be ready week 1 to have a really big game against a very unknown Dolphins defense if Ashton Jeanty can't suit up.
Yeah, and if that is true, and in fact he is 6'2", 6'3", and not 6'1", we would need to let everybody know, because that is the first time in history. It's a backward.
And that's what they say about me, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I say I'm 6'1".
You're lying about your height?
Yeah. No, I'm really a lot
taller in person?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's the trend. But another thing, Levi, as you and I have witnessed at training camp every single day when we're out there.
We get it. You both go to practice.
We do our jobs. The wide receiver room, I think that, and you and I specifically actually have talked a lot about this preseason, about how these young and second-year returning DBs have looked really well against this wide receiver core. And then we kind of saw in the first couple preseason games how maybe they're not going up against top wide receiving talent. And, they got Jalen Naylor this year to be that guy. We haven't really seen much of it. I think for him to really stand out, we don't talk about him as much. Jack Besh needs to take another big step this year, too. And the head coach, Clint Kubiak, kind of shouted out the wide receiver room and how he needs them to step up. So how concerning is it, in your opinion, that the wide receiver room, they don't have a really strong 1-2?
Right now, I'm pretty concerned, just from the standpoint of, you look at that receiver room at practice, or you look at them now in game action over the last 2 weeks, and creating separation is a problem. And I'm not going to lie and say that it isn't. Fernando Mendoza, when he's under pressure in the pocket, he's kind of had difficulty being able to try to find open targets, things of that nature, just based upon the receivers. No one really claiming that number one receiver guy. But the thing is with that is that within this offense with Clint Kubiak, there is going to be no true X receiver. He's going to move so many guys around and do so many different things to where it's going to be kind of a receiver by committee. And even though JSN was the guy last year, even though he won Offensive Player of the Year, if you watch Seattle's offense last year with Clint Kubiak, it was kind of the same way, where he was moving so many guys around to do so many different things that there really was no true X, Y, Z. It was just kind of like, this play is directed to you and you have to do your job. The other thing that we have to talk about, and I always forget this, and there's no reason why I shouldn't forget this, is that Brock Bowers is pretty much technically a receiver. He's a tight end. Right. That's his technical position. But Brock Bowers is your number one receiver. He's your number one target. And just having Brock Bowers on the field, even as a decoy, is going to create so many other opportunities for your other receivers. So at the end of the day, I expect Bowers to get about a solid 5 to 10 targets a game this season. And he's going to be open on maybe 5 to 10 of those targets that he gets throughout the season, because he's that damn good. I really mean that. Maybe one of the top 3 practice players I've seen in my life, for sure. And then it translates over to the field. He's literally always open, whether it's man, double bracket, and also the catches he makes is ridiculous. Where it's like he'll be in double coverage, catch it with one hand like it's nothing for a touchdown. It's freaky, and people are concerned about his health. He looks fine to me. People want to get concerned about him wearing his little compression sleeve or his little knee tape at practice. I do not care. He can do whatever he wants. He is still torching people on the field. So I'm not trying to be long-winded, but with that being said, he's your receiver one, and he's going to create other opportunities for all of the other guys within that offense, just because of how much attention defense is going to have to pay directly to him.
Well, let's talk about the guys that are getting him the football. And Levi Edwards with us, digital reporter, Raiders.com. Everybody, I don't want to ask the boring question, right? When's Fernando going to play? We're not going to cover that. We're not even going to talk about Kirk Cousins. I'll ask you this. How many quarterbacks are they going to keep on this roster and why?
3. Because they have 3 quarterbacks on the roster that could probably go win a game right now. And unless you're going to move on from Aiden O'Connell, unless you're going to trade him to try to get whatever value he has so you can continue to build upon your roster, there really is no point, because I just based off of what I've seen this preseason and also what I've just seen over the last seasons with Aiden O'Connell in general, if you cut Aiden O'Connell and you drop him out to the waivers, he's not coming back. Aiden O'Connell will not be a Raider if you think he's gonna. If you're John Spytek and you think that you're going to waive Aiden O'Connell, he's going to be your practice squad quarterback. That's going to be your emergency third that you can elevate. It's not going to happen. It just will not, because Aiden O'Connell has proved to be he could go and be a really reliable backup for half of the league right now, and that's just fact. And if you look at his stats, he's proved it. He's won some games with some not so great teams. 7-10 as a starter, which is not amazing by any stretch of the imagination, but 62% completion percentage. He has a 20-11 touchdown interception ratio, pretty accurate with the ball. Really, his only knock on him is that he's not the most mobile guy in the world, which is funny because he had a rushing touchdown to win the game against the Houston Texans. But he's really good for what he's asked to be. And so you still have Fernando in that quarterback room who's a rookie, and he's still learning, even though he's as good as he is, and you're hoping that he can be your franchise guy. You still need to bring him along. You still need to bring him along like any other rookie quarterback. So why not have 2 veteran guys in that room to help him out along the way? And I just truly believe that Aiden is, if you need him to come in and play some reliable football, I think he could do that. He's just proved that he could do that.
So, obviously, keeping 3 quarterbacks on a roster, that means you're going to have to make room elsewhere, Levi. Roster cuts are this Sunday. Who are some players? First of all,
besides Fernando Mendoza, who's getting cut?
Oh, imagine. But 2-part question here. Where do you make the room? Who do you think is on the outside looking in by the end of Sunday evening? And then who is going to be who are some players to watch in their preseason game tonight against the 49ers who have kind of proven themselves throughout camp and have a real shot at making this team?
Well, I think the trenches, I think that's kind of where you would make the room when you look at offensive and defensive line, because with this offensive line, versatility is so necessary. And you can also say the same thing for the defensive line as well, where you have so many guys that are cross-training at different positions. You have Trey Zune, and Brandy, you can attest to this. I've seen Trey Zune lined up at literally every single spot on the offensive line throughout training camp. Yes. From left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle. And then you have – it's insane. And then you have Charles Grant, the guy that they drafted last year. He's a swing tackle. Caleb Rogers, he can play both guard spots. So Jordan Meredith, he can play center and both guard spots. So, you have several players on the offensive line that can do so many things. So that's where you make your room. You take your most versatile guys on that offensive line that can be able to play multiple spots. And then if you only shown that you're really only good at one and you are trying to make for depth on this team, then sayonara. Same thing for the defensive line. You have guys that are able to play off the edge and inside. I've seen Thomas Booker. Thomas Booker can play edge. He can play inside. Kwity Paye can play inside. He can also play off the edge. Patrick Johnson, you talked about players that I'm expecting to watch. Patrick Johnson, he's been going off this preseason, and he has a really good opportunity to make this team as kind of the wily veteran guy, that can make the 53-man roster that people weren't expecting for him to going into the season. So really just in the trenches, that's kind of where you have to make the room so you can carry 3 quarterbacks. But also those 2 position groups in particular, that's what I'm going to be looking at the most in this preseason game, because that's where that's the highest competition is those 2 position groups. Those are the guys that are actually not just fighting for jobs on the roster, but those guys are actually right now fighting for real snaps, real reps in these games when they truly matter. You know, you have a lot of guys where it's just kind of like, okay, your first team is set, and that's who it's going to be. Those two positions right now, right guard, I don't know who's starting at right guard week 1. I don't know who's going to be the starting 2 defensive tackles week 1. I do not know that. It hasn't been determined. So that's why it's going to be so important how they play against the 49ers today.
Yeah, Levi, and Coach is going to give us absolutely nothing. It's going to be a fun season. He's going to make us better reporters. That's what I was telling you the other day. Levi Edwards is your reporter for Raiders.com. Levi, where can people follow you, and what do you have on tap that people can pay attention to?
Yeah, Raiders.com, obviously. At the Levi Edwards on Instagram, Twitter, all of the good handles and all that whatnot. Definitely have a story that we just dropped yesterday on Raiders.com that I think is pretty interesting. And it's the fact that we have not one Hoosier on the Raiders roster. We have 3 Raiders. We have 3 Hoosiers on the Raiders roster currently right now. And E.J. Williams, Roman Hemby, and Fernando Mendoza, who all played together at Indiana, won a national championship. So just kind of talk about their experience of going through that national championship, but also how they're coming together again on the Raiders to try to make this team and try to make an impact. And Roman Hemby is another one of those guys. He's fighting for a roster spot. He's trying to be that 4th running back on the team going into the 53-man roster, and it's going to be tough for him. And so E.J. Williams is another guy. The receiver room, as we talked about already, is kind of bleak. So as much depth as necessary. So, you know, he might have as good of a shot as anybody as well. Fernando is Fernando, obviously. But it's a really cool story, and it's on Raiders.com. So any random Hoosier fans out there that want to do some reading, go on there right now.
Yeah, definitely hit it up, Raiders.com. Levi, thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you tonight at the Raiders' final preseason game against the 49ers at Allegiant.
I'll see you tonight. I know you'll put that stuff on, Brandy.
You always know.
But yeah, we gonna dress to impress tonight.
Always, and this is just a warm up. It's preseason, so everybody needs to get ready.
Preseason. The real picks don't even come out until Miami.
Exactly. All right, Levi, thanks so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Brandy.
And John. I mean, yeah, you're welcome, Levi. All right, go to Raiders.com, check that out. We got to talk a little bit more. We've been a little Raider-centric, but obviously football is the focus of Ultimate Contest Weekend. When we come back, Survivor. The Raiders are one of the favorites in Week 1. Ooh. Are they maybe, just maybe, a team you can use in the first week of Survivor? We'll discuss that and more.
Back to JVT and Brandy, live from the Circa Resort and Casino.
Galaxy Ballroom, come on down, say what's up. I guess technically when you come downtown, you come upstairs to the Galaxy Ballroom to say what's up, but come down either way. It is the Ultimate Contest Weekend starting today, Radio Row today and tomorrow up here in the ballrooms. You come, you sign up for the contest, a lot of different benefits. Obviously, you get to enter the largest football contest in the country, whether it's going to be Million or Survivor or the Grandissimo, if that's your thing. $100,000 per entry. Brandy and I thinking about signing up together. We'll see. Brandy was already.
I already told him no.
Brandy was already in. Herself.
He's just trying to save money, but I just don't want to start an argument because I don't want to have to agree with you on teams to pick.
Given what this is about to happen right now with this, we're getting insight as to why we cannot team up on anything for the most part. But as part of Ultimate Contest Weekend, we got a lot going on tonight. Cocktail party meet and greet at Bar Canada. If you're coming down and sign up, you can go and rub elbows, mingle. Derek Stevens, owner CEO of both Circa the D, down here downtown. Mike Palm, who will join us at 9 o'clock Friday, 10 to 4. When you sign up, you get a Stadium Swim open bar, 10 to 4. 6 hours of open bar.
And just I just want to let everybody know, even though it's open bar, take advantage of the alcoholic beverages.
Sure.
Drink responsibly. Throw in some water in there. Have you could rip 3 shots, glass of water.
I knew you were.
Rip 3 more shots, glass of water.
I knew you were a fuddy-duddy.
I'm not, but
water?
It's the sun, the heat. I have unfortunately been stuck in the Vegas heat at these pool parties, and where I did not drink enough water.
Wow, look at this.
And so I'm trying to help people.
Out and about on the town, right? I was just at these pool
parties. Back in my days.
Yeah, you're 33 now, so you got to slow down.
Yeah.
You got a blackjack tournament coming up on Friday as well for contest. Saturday, Circa football preview. The panel, we'll actually have to talk to Mike about that. I'm going to try to swing by that too, but that's a lot of fun. You get a lot of good insight about betting the football season, things like that. A lot going down.
You're going to be on the panel?
No, I'm going to go.
Oh.
I'm not smart enough to be on the panel, so I've never been asked.
I don't think that's true.
Let's ask Mike. When he joins us at 9, he'll give us a very honest answer as to why I've never been invited to be on the panel before, and I'm looking forward to that answer. Brandy, you've said a lot of things that have pissed me off today so far.
Really?
Yep. I'll be quite honest with you. You've said quite a bit, and I thought a little bit more about this. I got up to take a tinkle just now, and I looked at myself. There's a nice full body mirror in the bathroom.
Okay.
These are not skinny jeans. These are slim fit jeans that have some bagginess
that's what
to
they're
them.
calling them.
Look at they're baggy.
That's like saying, that's like if you're an Irishman and you say, this is just a kilt, and you're not Irish and you're just wearing a kilt, but it's really a skirt, a man skirt.
That's offensive because that's a different culture. Thank you very much.
I'm saying people who are appropriating that culture.
That's what I'm saying. Some would say white men in skinny jeans is a culture in and of itself, but I do not partake in that culture. I will just say that right now.
There's he took real offense to that, guys. He took real offense to that.
Which I will then return the favor.
Okay.
So Survivor this week, or the first week of the NFL season. To establish again for our audience, if you don't know, Survivor, relatively simple, complex. You pick a team to win that week. You win, you survive, you move on. The team that you select is then eliminated from your pool. You cannot pick them again. Survivor also for Circa has the intricacies of having some different weeks. It's not just every week. Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas, they're separate weeks as well. So in totality, you have 20 weeks. You have to make selections. Yeah, 20, I think I have that right.
And if you even make it that far, you got to save teams to use on those holiday weeks.
Correct. So
holiday
when
geeks.
it whittles down, that you sound like somebody who's watched the documentary.
I am all in this. I can't wait to talk about it.
And so with that, one of the options for you potentially is going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. What's up, buddy? Chris Macera, professional bettor. This everybody comes in here. A lot of who's who and what's what. So the Raiders could be one. They're a 3.5-point favorite against Miami Dolphins. If you want to save some of your bullets for further down the road, you don't want to burn, let's say, the Chargers against the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals are 10-point dogs to the Los Angeles Chargers week 1. That maybe the Raiders are going to be a selection for you. So let's just start there. Would you trust the Raiders week 1 against the Miami Dolphins, given what we know about both teams? Let's also remind folks that the other day in practice, the Dolphins were so ass that Malik Willis had to call a meeting during practice to get the team back on track, and the meeting did not work.
When the players call meetings, you know it's bad.
Call meetings during practice.
Anytime.
Where he had to, guys, right now, during this next commercial break, I'm going to have to get Brandy to focus. She's just staring at herself at her camera right now. She's Willie Ramirez-esque, who streams during these shows and blows kisses to some British audience that I have no idea who's talking to. I
definitely don't do that. I actually don't stream because I want people to listen live on ESPN Las Vegas.
You're just recording yourself right now?
Yeah, because I make content, and this is part of my content.
I guess
this is part of my vlog. Do you want to be my vlog?
Sure. So, are these skinny jeans? Ask the audience.
Are these skinny jeans? Yes. Actually, so yeah, be sure to tune into my TikTok later at _ Brandy Flores. This is great promo. Thank you so much.
So would you trust the Raiders week 1 with a Survivor entry? Let's whittle it down to you have one silver bullet, you have one Survivor entry week 1. Who are you going with?
Oh, my God. I'm scared. I would.
It's only a 3-point spread, so it's not like this is a given that the Raiders are going to find themselves.
That's the thing.
This is also one of the few games they will be favored in. Might be the only game they'll be favored in.
That's what I'm saying. So this would be a good idea as strategy to pick the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would go with the Raiders if you have multiple entries. Definitely pick the Raiders for one.
Sure.
For sure. But if we're talking Grandissimo, and you and I have to split the Grandissimo for some reason, and we're going in, I don't know. I'd be scared. If I had one entry, I don't think I would do. I don't know if I would do it.
Yeah, I think so every week we get the most selected teams. I think the Raiders will probably be up there for week 1 because there's not really that many options for you. We put this down in the rundown. When you look at the actual favorites, you have teams that are laying about a touchdown or so. Chargers are 10-point favorites, as I mentioned. The Jags are 7.5-point favorites at home versus the Browns. The Lions are 7-point favorites at home versus the Saints.
You know what? Actually, I would not go. Well, okay. If I had one entry, if we had one Grandissimo entry, okay, let's pretend that we're gonna do an entry. We had one.
We're not pretending, Aaron. Aaron Oster's here. We're going to split the Grandissimo entry. Don't worry. We're in.
Oh, I'm doing my own, but just for the show, we're going to split it. For this purposes. Okay.
I would so many pairs of jeans.
I would. Non-skinny jeans, right? He's going to buy some leather pants, guys. Some skinny leather pants.
Hey, Tom Brady.
I think we should go Eagles Commanders. The Commanders offensive line, I used to work in Washington, so I still follow a lot of their beat writers.
So you would use the Eagles, what you're saying?
Yes, because from reports, the Commanders offensive line is so bad. It is the worst offense that the Commanders reporters have seen in years. Years. They have been, up until they had that NFC title run, they have been very bad. So to say that their offensive line is so bad that the offense is that bad, I think we could go Eagles. But then what if we want to save the Eagles for later?
Further down the road, they play the Giants.
But are the Eagles going to be as good?
I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be competent. I think the Cowboys are the best team in that division. But
and
they're going to be a team you want to use at some point because they're going to be a competent, above-average NFL team. The Eagles, that is.
I think the Lions, obviously the next, I would go Lions. I would definitely go, who knows, Matt, imagine if, or even Jaguars as well. I think Jaguars would be a good pick.
7.5 versus the Browns.
Yeah. I'm indecisive.
So I bring this up because I find this interesting. So the Chargers are obviously taking on the Cardinals. And I've had this thought process. And have you ever seen The Joker with Joaquin Phoenix?
Of course.
Do you remember the scene where he's sitting on the couch, and I never say it properly, but he's like, I don't know what he's talking about, but he's like, but I'm tired of pretending that it's not, right? He gets all mad. And I've been kind of sitting on this take for a while, but I have decided to be like Joaquin Phoenix. I'm tired of not saying that I think the Cardinals actually got something going on. I think the Arizona Cardinals are, for a team in where they're at, I don't think they're going to get to the playoffs, but for a team being considered one of the worst in the NFL, I think we widely ignore Trey McBride at tight end. I think we ignore that they got Jeremiah Love in the draft, who's extremely talented offensive player when he's healthy. He's a little dinged up to start the season. Marvin Harrison Jr. is in that wide receiver room as well. And Jacoby Brissett is a competent, I will call him, starting quarterback in the National Football League. Not only do I think the Cardinals are good for a team where they're being measured, I think they're on par with the Raiders.
I'm not going to completely disagree with you, only because I feel like the Cardinals last year, they had so many injuries on their offensive line, and we don't know what that's going to look like this year. If they have a healthy offensive line, and when the Raiders played the Cardinals in their first preseason game, so we saw a lot of Jeremiah Love. He's insane. He's already hurdling people. He's done it already. And he is an insane athletic talent that I think that with a competent offensive line, that is going to help the offense so much and put points on the board. As you mentioned, Jacoby Brissett being a competent quarterback, he is 100%. But when you have a strong run game and a really good running back and Jeremiah Love, that takes off so much pressure. So much pressure for Jacoby and company. And I don't think anybody's ignoring Trey McBride. I don't think anybody's ignoring Marvin Harrison. I think Trey McBride, excuse me. Sorry, Trey. I know he's listening.
He's a big fan. Him and I are boys.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. You hear the doubt? I could be boys with an NFL tight end. You have no idea.
Well, I'm just kidding.
I don't have the rapport with him that you have with Levi Edwards, but, me and McBride are boys.
Well, me and Levi are also born 2 days apart, so that's why we're also more connected. Anyways.
2 days apart.
Anyways.
So he's 40. Huh?
Yeah, we're both 40. So anyway, I think that the Arizona Cardinals, it's just going to be how good is that offensive line going to be, and that's kind of where I make my decision. I think the offense, to your point, can be good enough. And when we say on par with the Raiders, I think because I've watched the Raiders every day, their offensive line seems fairly healthy. We don't know what's going to happen at right guard. But I do think that it's not out of this world to compare those teams.
Sure.
I think that maybe it's a different conversation week 2, week 3 when we see how these things play out. But I don't completely disagree.
Okay, I was trying to get you angry. No. By the way, I'm going to
I am an unbiased journalist.
Yeah, I can give you that for the most part.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to Babe Ruth this. I'm going to call my shot right now.
All right.
So 2-part here. First off, Raider fans, Week 17, I wouldn't be circling that as a win when you go to Arizona to play them. Okay, I'm just going to say that. Also,
what did I have?
I will say.
I have that as a win.
Yeah, I knew you did. I will also say this.
Jacoby Brissett's going to be hurt by then.
Well, either hurt or, because that's part of what my Babe Ruthian call here is going to be, we're going to see the future of the NFL there. I love Carson Beck. I think he's going to be freaking awesome. And I think, by the way, who at one point was projected to be a first-round pick. Let us not forget this.
That is true.
So we're going to get Fernando versus Beck in that Week 17 matchup.
That's the primetime slot.
Flex that bad boy. I was about to curse. I'm so excited for that game. So, but you brought up something that I'm curious about. So general thought really quickly is the offensive line is good, better for the Raiders?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
With Tyler Linderbaum, and then, of course, they get Miller back.
And you've seen this manifest in practice?
Yes, 100%. Yes.
So, okay, this is why I wanted to ask this. So you were not here yet, but I will take you back, as I like to call it, the summer of Jack Jones for the Las Vegas Raiders, okay? Hey, just laughing. So this is about 3-4 years ago now, and Jack Jones, former corner for the Las Vegas Raiders, was killing it in camp, right? And all we heard about reports were, this defense, you better watch out. They look competent. They look good. They're kicking ass. They look fantastic. It turned out that they were actually just practicing against Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell for an entire summer. They were terrible. And so they actually started to play competent NFL teams, and it was like, oh, like we're not just playing Gardner Minshew every single time, and like, oh, we're not playing Aiden O'Connell, and we're actually awful. Is there a chance, because Levi even said it, they're pretty undecided at defensive tackle, right? They don't really know what's going to go on there.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that this offensive line is not as good as it looks because it's practicing against a front that have no idea who some of its starters are going to be, and that's kind of a weakness for the Raiders, and that this team hasn't really been tested outside of the Texans, and they got their rear ends kicked in that game? Is the reality where we're going to see this team hit the field in week one, you're like, ooh, actually, this offensive line is like not good at all?
No, I think it's going to be definitely. Well, let me just say this: it'll definitely be better than last year. I will say, I think
nowhere to go but up.
Well, you could always spiral down further and fall down the stairs and hit your head. But to your point about the Houston preseason game, none of the starters are playing on either side.
I'm talking practice too. Whenever I invoke Houston, I mean the practices as well.
So
because we had Q.
Yes.
We had Q on Cofield and we talked about it, and he was very forthright. He was like, these guys are going to see them in their sleep. That's how bad it was in practice for the Raiders offensive line.
Yes. For the offensive line, yes, because to your point, when you're going up against, and not saying that, Max Crosby hasn't caused some pressure or anything like that, but it's not the same. I think the best part about these joint practices for these players is you get to play with a little bit more physicality, and they got the sense of that. And I think that in speaking with the coach and everything afterwards, like, okay, so we thought, they like the structure of what they have in place, but when it comes to where they need to go and how much further they are, I think that the team knows that it's a little bit farther than they thought previously. Maybe it's because it's going against practice, but also the biggest thing about the success of an offensive line is communication. We still don't know what's going to happen at that right guard position. I think maybe the team knows, but honestly, I am not sure, because when we see that right guard position, it's Jackson Powers-Johnson and Caleb Rogers. Jackson Powers-Johnson did not play during that week in Houston because he was banged up a little bit. So Caleb Rogers was in there. This was an opportunity for Caleb Rogers to be like, I'm that guy. Right guard is my position. Didn't happen. They're still equally splitting reps between the first team and the second team. So we don't know. I don't think that that's because the coaching staff wants to throw everybody off in the media. I think that's because they genuinely do not know, and that is a big point of concern, because the biggest thing is cohesion. I actually asked Tyler Linderbaum about this the other day. I was like, you have all these guys, and the coach preaches competition at every position. Great. That should be a given for, I think, any team at any position, right? But but I asked him, how is that competition helping if you could just, down the road and somebody gets hurt, especially big guys, the harder, what is it? The harder bigger they are, the harder they fall.
There we go.
Took me a minute.
That right off the top of the dome. Good job.
And he's like, if it is beneficial for us because there are so many guys, and Levi Edwards mentioned the rookie Trey Zoom playing everywhere too on that line, it is beneficial for them to continue to push each other, and the fact that the coaching staff kind of has set it up that way. But in my opinion, how do you know who that starting line is going to be? I mean, even at practice this week, they're still splitting reps. And they have to develop that chemistry and that cohesion. And, they have 2 more weeks of the regular season, so I think after this preseason game, which I don't think any starters are going to play, I like to think that NFL preseason, the final game is like, okay, let's put in everybody who we think we're going to cut and not cuts, right? So I think that this next couple of weeks at practice is going to be telling on who they believe that is going to be on the offensive line. And I think that, especially with Houston, mind you, Houston playoff caliber team, I think that if they didn't have so many injuries last year, they could have gotten a lot deeper, I think, than most people would have thought. But I think it was great for this team to go up against Houston because that is still a big question. I think they're going to be better if Ashton Jeanty is back healthy week 1. That will certainly help them. Mike Washington, he's a rookie. I think that he has speed, but he doesn't know how to hit that extra gear. So I think that's something that he's going to learn. I don't think it's like a big point of concern. But for example, if it's Mike Washington starting week 1, he's going to rely more on that offensive line than like an Ashton Jeanty would. So it'll be interesting, but I do think that the offensive line is is a point of subtle concern, but I do think it will be better than in years past.
Hard not to be, but to your point, it is hard to measure when you've been measured against the two extremes, right? Which is a Raiders front that has a lot of questions about the starting positions, and then like the best defensive front in the NFL,
Right.
and like those are our two really big points of measurement right now for this Raiders offensive line.
And even for like when we showed up to the joint practice, we're watching this, and I'm like, oh, this is on both sides of the ball. Oh, night and day. Another big point of concern for the Raiders, which you haven't talked about, is the defensive line. Their run game defenses need some work. But I think that they've shown everything very vanilla. That's why I do think the defense is going to be a little bit better because they are going to lean on that line a little bit more than we think. And they're running a 3-4 defense, which is different this year. They have a lot of new guys as well. But I think that getting Quay Walker into Kobe Dean, I mean, that's just going to wreak a lot of havoc, along with Max Crosby.
Hardly the only team in the NFL that has offensive line issues. Hardly the only team in the division that has offensive line issues.
Yeah.
On the other side, let's talk about the division as a whole. Raiders are picked to finish last. They're 20-1 to win the AFC West as a whole. Chargers, of course, the team I'm referring to. Well, hold that thought. Let's hear that on the other side.
I'm just kidding.
Let's talk about the division because there is a team that I will tell you right now in that division that I hate, that everybody loves, and I don't understand it, and we'll tell you who that is when we come back. It is the Galaxy Ballroom here at Circa for Ultimate Contest Weekend.
Back to JVT and Brandy, live from the Circa Resort and Casino.
All right, we have to address this. This is getting ridiculous. You heard Power Voice here. We're down, Circa Casino, Galaxy Ballroom. So Brandy and I we're not even arguing, okay? So we're talking about, you're telling me because you've been in the business for like 25 years.
Yeah.
You've been covering sports for a long time as a 49-year-old woman. And you were mentioning the drive to Baltimore, a team that you covered.
From D.C.
Yeah, from D.C.
Right.
A team that you covered for, quote, a smidgel, as you said.
Yeah, I didn't go to, actually, I think I went to one game and I went to a few practices, but I was in charge of watching every single media scrum and press conference and putting it on our air.
So the point of this conversation was you brought up how Max Crosby had invoked the drive that he had to make.
Right, and everybody was making fun. Everybody was calling him a liar and all that stuff.
And you were saying, yes, the drive, I agree, like I've been part of the drive, to which my response was, yes, but you guys are not traveling the same. And you were very much perplexed by my statement.
He said I was in a tiny car, and when I think of a tiny car, I think of it, no shade to the Honda Civic owners out there, but I used to own a Honda Civic.
Okay.
Those cars are really small sedans. I drive...
Yeah, that's fine. I don't care about your car. I'm not stating your cars. I'm saying, do you think that the level of luxury with which Max Crosby travels is the same as which Brandy Flores, 52-year-old journalist, travels with? No,
but
that's
that
my
wasn't...
whole point. Max is sitting in the back of a car.
He's still stuck in the same traffic.
I know, but it's not. You don't have to drive in it. That's all. That's my whole point. Was Max was just lounging in the back of a car, chilling. When you drove your Chevy Malibu or whatever the hell you were driving, you actually had to drive. That was my whole point. And you were, Angel, you saw her. She's like, no. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh, I thought you were making fun of my car.
No. I mean, that seems like that you're a little self-conscious about your car. That's a personal bit. No, it's not. Now, I like to make fun of things. I like to make fun of the Broncos, for example, who are a team that a lot of people think are going to be very, very good this year.
I am one of those people.
So I'm going to be nice. I'm going to let you present this case first before I just completely and utterly just destroy whatever positive thoughts you have about the
Well, this will kick off. You're not going to destroy me. This will kick off our AFC West conversation. So obviously Raiders dead last. We could both agree on that. I think the Chiefs are going to come up third, and then Chargers are going to be in second place. And I think the Broncos are going to be on top of the division. Okay. I do think the Chargers and the Chiefs, I think that they will snag a couple wild card spots, as we have been talking about this whole show. It's a very tough division this year.
And to add to this really quickly, I don't think it's shocking that you would find a Chiefs team like third because you could finish with 9 wins and be third in that division.
Exactly. Not unheard of, not uncalled for. So the reason why is when I was looking at all these teams, I was looking at their schedules. The Chiefs and the Chargers have a significantly harder schedule. The Broncos have the 18th easiest schedule in the NFL, and that is a leg up. Yes, Bo Nix is coming back from a fractured ankle injury. However, according to multiple reports that I've seen from Broncos training camps, they say Bo Nix is on another level, that the ankle is a non-factor in coming back.
Broncos beat writers think that the Broncos quarterback is good? That's crazy.
Listen.
I'm killing it over there.
Listen. a lot of beat writers are not just fans of the team. Some of them do have some merit, which is why I read multiple reports.
Okay.
But the consensus is that he has come back and really shined out in training camp, and he has not shied away from confrontation. I believe he broke up a scuffle as well. Yeah, I dove really deep into the Denver beat writers. So shout out Denver beat writers. You guys do a great job. Anyways,
when they're down 17 in the fourth quarter of the Chargers, he'll pull that energy that he had when he broke up that scuffle.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I do think that with, obviously, the Denver Broncos, this is a team where last year they were probably going to go to be a Super Bowl team.
Sure.
I don't know if they would have won. Who knows, actually. Imagine that would have changed everything. If the Broncos would have won, would Clint Kubiak be as high rated as a head coach? Anyways, whatever. Butterfly effect. I do think that the Broncos I think they're going to be a lot hungrier to come back. I think that they feel like they had a missed opportunity and chance last season, and I think that that's what's going to drive them. And I think also the toughness of their schedule is going to help them out a lot when it comes to specifically this division. They had a lot of close games last year, and coming out on the winning side of those games, we can say the same thing about the Chiefs, who I think they are one of the best teams when it comes to really close games. And I always say it doesn't matter at the end of the day how much you win by, is you won. Good teams will always find a way to win games. The Broncos have done that. I think that they are going to come back a lot hungrier this year. I think Bo Nix this is going to be a really good year for Bo Nix, and that is my case.
So the winning close games thing is one of the biggest reasons why they're going to be awful this year.
Why?
You cannot consistently do what the Broncos did a season ago. Historically, every indicator of a team falling back down to earth is success in one-score games. By the way, and trailing in those one-score games as well. Not even just winning one-score games, but having to come back in multiple contests in which they won. That's not sustainable. They were 11-2 in those one-score games. Historically, that has told us those teams revert back heavy the other way. I'll give you an example in the division. The year the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl against the 49ers, that year they every one-score game possible. They won 15 games that year. Every one-score game went their direction. What happened the next year? Fell right back down to earth. Mahomes gets injured. The last 4 games, they were struggling. I think 6-8 by the time Mahomes got injured, whatever it was.
Yeah, they were struggling before correct. Mahomes got hurt.
And it actually reversed course correctly, like the extreme the other way, where they couldn't win a one-score game to save their lives the next year. They were absolutely awful in those situations. You cannot consistently ask that to happen, and I'll invoke one of the worst games I've ever watched in my life. You had a game that you needed a score in the fourth quarter against an opponent that had a net negative 10 passing yards against you. That was that Jets game that the Broncos somehow pulled out because Bo Nix in that offense was so bad. And that's the whole point here. You look at how bad they were on offense. You look at some of the underlying metrics. They were not a good offensive team. Bo Nix was not a really good quarterback. And so when you constantly have to ask your defense to keep you in these one-score games so that you can desperately get into field goal range down the stretch to maybe win it, historically that has told us that those teams are not going to do it. The Broncos are only one of 16 teams in the last 25 seasons that played in double-digit one-score games and won at least 70% of those. That's insane. You cannot continue to do that. This is a team that has every indicator that they're going to fall back down to earth. And here's the thing. I don't think they're going to be like a 3-win team.
But you're saying this, based on the offense? Because if the defense is just as good, if not better, and the offense gets a little bit better, then all of a sudden we're not looking at them winning one-score games. We're looking at them winning outright.
The defense is going to be good again. I don't know how good they're going to be, though. Defense tends to not be random, but in the NFL, you tend to be as good as the opponents you face on defense. You can be above average most of the times, but you saw post-bye week last year, going into the postseason, they were bad. They had to turn away Marcus Mariota on a 2-point conversion, right, in a high-scoring game against your Washington Commanders. I'll call them yours. I don't know if they're yours, but you were out there.
Definitely not mine.
Right, but you know the game I'm referring to. You go down and you watch the games. They got smoked by the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? They could not stop them from going up and down the field post-bye week after that, too. There's just – my whole point is – and I don't think, again, like they're going to be above-average defense. But the whole point is you cannot continue to ask your defense to do those sort of things while playing offense at the level that you do. I think they're going to be like an 8-win team. I don't think they're going to fall off the face of the earth. But Bo Nix, when you look at what he struggled to do and how bad he was, the lack of 200-yard passing games, the lack of multiple touchdown passing games, things like that.
But when your defense is that good, you don't need need all those passing yards.
Right, but what you're saying is I need to win these coins. You need the coin. Right? We'll call it a coin flip because that's what it is, right? These 50-50 one-score games. You're asking the coin to go heads for you again 11 out of 13 times. You can't do that realistically.
When you are good, it's not necessary. I don't think it's as 50-50 as you're saying.
No, I'm boiling it down to a very simple example.
Right, but Bo Nix is going to be better this year, for sure. And I will stand on that. The defense, if the defense is just as good, even when they had their missteps last season, like you were saying, even if that happens, to your point, if Bo Nix is better, there's going to be a lot of games where they're not going to win by just one score. They're going to win outright. And I am leaning, you said they're just as good as their opponents. They have the 18th easiest schedule in the NFL.
Technically,
so in comparison to
the 11th easiest schedule, actually.
I was on ESPN.
Well, no, because
per ESPN.
No, there's two ways to measure strength of schedule, right? There's by record from the opponent from last year. There's also by projected win totals for this year. And if you use projected win totals for this year, their schedule's actually easier.
Exactly. Okay, so even further proves my point.
See, that's what kind of a guy I am. I gave you ammo.
So for the rest of especially compared to the other two teams in the division, the Chargers and the Chiefs, that's why they're going to take the division. Because if they are just as good as their opponents, as you mentioned, their defense is just as good as last season, if not better. We don't know. They'll be fine.
Maybe they'll be fine. Third hour on the way. Let's ask Mike Palm about this when he joins us here at the set. It's Circa. We're here for Ultimate Contest Weekend.
It's the Fantasy and Football Special with Brandy and JVT live from the Circa Resort and Casino.
Exactly. Let's address that right off the gate. Mike Palm notices it, VP of Ops, sitting with us here at the table. Galaxy Ballroom, by the way. We'll note the important stuff first. It is Ultimate Contest Weekend. Come down, sign up for the biggest, best football contest in the country, the Circa Million. What number?
8.
There we go. We're teaching her how to read in Roman numerals. Circa Survivor or the Grandissimo.
I just refuse to learn.
A lot going on for Ultimate Contest Weekend when you sign up, including later tonight. I'll be out there, if I'm allowed to be. Cocktail party at the Bar Canada.
Don't let him in.
But that voice you hear is, I guess, the lead of this program because she just got first billing in the intro. What's going on here, Mike?
Fullerton, not big on other languages, I guess. Look, this is interesting because at the Score, there was a shakeup, and I went on Mully and Hall the last 3 years. Mully, 22 years in that spot. David Hall the last 8. Mully, they parted ways with. It will be David Haw and Jared Payton. The name of the new show is not Payton and Haw. Of course, it's the person that's been there longer has the lead. So this was just surprising to me, unless Brandy's been with ESPN Radio Las Vegas longer than you have, JVT.
I mean, it could be. I will say there's an underlying controversy that Brandy does not know about, which is over at ESPN Las Vegas, I don't know who does it, but they're nice enough to send out anniversaries and birthdays, so we get a company-wide email. Happy birthday so-and-so, or happy anniversary so-and-so. I'm not on the list. I have never gotten a happy birthday email. I have never gotten a happy anniversary email, even though I started there as an intern back in 2013, I think, and got hired ultimately as a producer. She's going to search right now.
I'm going to see if I got a birthday shout-out.
Never got one.
When she goes on in the afternoon with Steve, is it Flores and Company?
I did get a birthday shout-out, and I got some beautiful pink balloon pictures. Oh, that's nice.
Never been.
I don't remember 25, but that's cute.
Thank you. Because
the running bit is that she's actually getting older every time I reference her age.
So now I'm like 55.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
55-year-old Brandy Flores.
Well, and then actually, so before we really get started, Mike, we've been having this debate. Is JVT wearing skinny jeans, or are these just regular jeans?
I don't know. And why would I look?
I knew.
So
honestly.
So we're going to go with skinny jeans.
Please. He's
take her down.
In recent times has upped his game and his appearance for whatever reasons, but I'm complimentary of that.
Oh, love the support. Love the support.
We need it. Men supporting men. All right, it is contest weekend, so let's start with this. This week and what this means for you guys in terms of the contest. So we have a 3.1, we'll call it, overlay in the million. You've got a $7.1 million overlay in the Survivor, $900,000 in the Grandissimo. How much of that will you cut into here over the next couple of days?
So last year, the Thursday, Friday, Saturday of contest week, we did 639 millions entries. We did 1953 in Survivor, and we did 3 Grandissimos. I'm hoping to up those numbers, right? We're pacing. We'll go through 13,000 today. So 13 million in prize pool and Survivor. That's pacing up about 60%. Now, you can't maintain that because those last week where you're doing 800 and 1,000 a day, you can't do 60% above it. There's capacity issues. We're holding about 15% above in millions, which would be great because for the first time we'd hit the 6 million guarantee. We just always fall short. That seems to be like an asymptote there where you get close but never get there. And then the most unpredictable one is obviously Grandissimo because it's year 2. My personal goal, was to get to 10 million off the 6.9 last year. We're at 29 compared to 19 going into the same day last year with, 17 days to go. So I hope we can get to 40 Grandissimo by the time this weekend wraps up. And if we do, I think we'll get to the 10 million.
So to follow up really quickly, do you think Survivor is kind of cannibalizing the million entries? Because it's become so popular that if you have an option of, if I have 2, right? I know maybe I'd like to be alive all season long, which the millions provides, but Survivor's just so big now that I'd rather use my 2 here as opposed to splitting
there's
them.
some of that, but I think it's so different. The contests are just so different, and there's a lot of people that love the millions and don't even buy one Survivor.
Yeah.
And there's some that, to your point, that maybe they used to get 2 and 2 and now they get 3 and 1. If you've done them both, you still do them both. They're just to a varying degree. But to your point, it's not like you're getting more millions and less Survivors.
Mm-hmm.
People keep upping their Survivor count.
I have to say, I binge-watched the Season 3 docuseries last night. And
all the way from 1 to 6?
Yes.
Well, it's not bad because they're like 22-minute episodes.
Well, not even that. They were fantastically produced. I loved it.
You have some piece of that company?
No, I just love it. I'm also an avid reality
We spent 23 minutes on 4 days last week in week 5. I was disappointed.
What did I text you?
I would like
I
would like a little more pace to it. Last night was very good.
Yeah.
Last week wasn't my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, you talked about the 4 Thanksgiving upsets, but never talked about the games. To me,
I could see that.
if I was just somebody watching, I'd be like, why don't you talk about what happened in these upsets? All we talk about is, these double-digit favorites. Well, how? What happened?
I will say, I think that they did heavily focus, which is what I liked, because what I was telling JVT when we started this program is a sense of community that it showcases with the Survivor, and I think that that's great, especially every Sunday you can come and watch with people who are also have skin in the game, and I think the docuseries definitely showcased that more, which I personally enjoyed.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Do you ever participate?
No. This is my first year.
What do you need? What do you need? A UFC Survivor for you to get in? Like what does it take?
I literally just this is my first year doing this.
You got in this year?
No, I'm still thinking about it.
I offered to split one with her.
Well,
Get her in.
I still gotta think about it.
I will say this, and if you have to, you have to. But if you don't have to, I think it's hard when you make one pick to have partners.
Sure.
That's
my
what
opinion.
I was saying.
Unless you have to decide JVT is going to make the final call, and you got to decide that now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And be comfortable
Right.
with that, because twice Amal has gotten deep in and ended up going with his partner's pick, and they lost. And that's why he'll never have a partner again in Survivor. By the way, Amal is on my panel.
I was going to say, Amal Shah, part of the panel. Let people know what the panel is and what's going on.
So every year I do, even before we had these contests, I do a football preview panel on the Saturday of this week, and really the Saturday of week 0 in college football is the way we time it. And it's a look at the upcoming NFL season. The topics can vary. There's a few college questions get thrown in there here and there, but I try to take people from different perspectives, and it's really driven by the audience. It'll be in this room at 2:00 Pacific time on Saturday, and I'll write 12 questions. But I really want the audience to drive it, and it also is live streamed on VSiN's Twitter account, or X, or whatever they call it now. So people can type in questions to the stream, and then I'll get them funneled to me. But the people in the audience are great, and they ask questions I wouldn't have thought of. So this year, Amal Shah will be one of the panelists. Jeff Sherman, who recently came over from the Westgate and is now working on our risk team, and the first woman ever to be on the panel this year. In panel 7, I finally decided it's time. You just can't avoid it, really. And
as much as you try.
Ruthie Polinsky. Do you know Ruthie Polinsky?
I don't.
So Ruthie Polinsky is one of the anchors for CHSN. That's the network in Chicago that has the White Sox, the Bulls, and the Blackhawks. And she's also the Bears reporter. So I decided I was going to do this last year, and I targeted Stacey Dales. Now, you know who Stacey Dales is.
Yes.
But she's in the booth for all Bears preseason games, and they happen to be playing Saturday.
Yeah.
Most play Thursday, Friday. There's 2 games Saturday to wrap it up, and the Bears are one of them Saturday night, so she couldn't travel out here. But Ruthie's coming, so Ruthie will be on the panel, and we're very excited about that.
You're going to ask a question about the panel.
I was going to ask a question about the panel.
She was going to ask why I'm never on it.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Well, it's about football.
You don't think he deserves his shot?
No, that's a compliment for me. If it was a basketball panel, I think I'd be on.
I think he does a really good job of specializing in the NBA. A very, very good job. Have you listened to the podcast that he does?
You know what? No.
You've never listened to the Hardwood
Handicappers.
You've never listened to that?
I haven't.
Have you listened to the Pods to the Future with Mitch Moss?
Got that one too. Do a lot. I've also got a conservative talk show podcast, but we don't know. Mike Palm with us. By the way, speaking of different adventures, Palm Saturdays as well on the Score too. So make sure you check out Mike. Does a lot of stuff as well. Got a lot of irons in the fire too. All right, so let's talk about some general football then. Because obviously it's right around the corner. I want to start with Week 0 though, and a little college if you had anything here, because we've been talking a lot about it. But
I played South Dakota State against Illinois.
Okay.
Against Northwestern.
Okay.
Only because I interviewed the Northwestern coach a couple weeks ago.
Sure.
And let's just say I didn't glean a lot of confidence from the interview.
Aiden Childs just won that job.
He's just won it. When they brought him in, look. I think they have. I don't know that they're going to have a pass rush, right? I look at the history, and I get he knows this program, but they know him because he comes from North Dakota State. I get this, but these Division II teams, these FCS teams, traditionally have covered the spread in these early season games. When they come in, they're catching double digits, and I think that I just don't know if there's any balance to the South Dakota State attack. That Northwestern's playing, talk about regression. They gave up 20 points a game last year. Just like Iowa had such good on defensively on 3rd and 4th down, you can't. It's hard to replicate that.
Yep.
And when you lose your 2 best pass rushers, and it's all new guys, you're going to have to try to replace them. I think that South Dakota State can stay inside the number.
Okay.
I also think this TCU is getting to be a bit of a runaway at this point. If it gets to 10, I think I have to take Belichick at this point.
I took a step. So I didn't think it was going to go because they dismissed the safety that they brought in from La Tech. The kid that he fought in the locker room might be injured and not play. So that's a starting wide receiver that's potentially down. So I took 7.5, thinking at the very least it's just going to stay here. And then it gets pumped all the way up to where it is. Like you said, it's almost going to get 10. Can I ask you? So when do you guys raise your limits in terms of these individual games? Is that part of maybe why these lines moved, or limits rising and people are betting a little bit more into these?
Yeah, typically, we release on Sunday the numbers.
Yep.
And then we take X on Sunday and Monday, and then we take Y on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Z on Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday is a different numbers.
Yeah.
So it's same way in NFL. It rises as the week goes along, and we get more confident in what number we're laying. Then the limits start going up.
Yeah, I would assume that's part of it. Right, because it was Tuesday when all of a sudden we saw Hawaii move and we saw TCU move.
Hawaii moves because our football show out there. We've got Matt Humans and Tim Murray previewing college football in really the hotbed of college football, Honolulu. Right?
You ever been out there?
It makes a lot of sense.
Honolulu, yes.
Yeah. But like to cover, Hawaii football. The
No,
real
I have
reason
not,
why you go
no.
out there? Come on now. All right.
No, I only just went to go enjoy the wonderful vacation spots. I did not stop by Hawaii.
Now, Brandy is an established Raiders reporter as well.
That's what I've been hearing, that she seemed to be focused on the Raiders.
Yes.
Got anything Raiders related for Mike?
So, from an outside perspective,
Here we go.
the big topic question is Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah.
If you're the head coach, you have Kirk Cousins. When do you start Fernando Mendoza?
I guess when I feel comfortable that I can put him out there. I'm not really concerned at this point that he's giving me the best chance to win. I feel comfortable putting him out there that he is going to process and it's going to benefit him, and I think I can protect him. Right? I think they have to get out there and play against much more complicated NFL defenses than they've ever faced in college, especially in the Big Ten, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like they're playing a lot of pro-style offenses in the Big. So as soon as I feel confident Now, I think they chose a great person to be a mentor to him in Cousins. That I don't know if you could have found a better guy, because as much as I've always thought he was kind of a fraud as a quarterback, but I think as a leader, right, and a guy that's genuinely interested in bringing some along at this point in his career, he knows what his role is, right? He's not thinking he's going to go and lead this Raiders team to the playoffs and it's his job forever. I think he understands what his role is, and when he's been healthy, he's been decent. But Can he stay healthy? I don't know when it is. Obviously, when you're trying to handicap Offensive Rookie of the Year, it's a huge deal to try to figure out when he's going to get a start. But you can probably glean more than that being around the team and interviewing the folks that make those decisions than I can. I mean, it's another year where you hope the Raiders are taking a step forward. Remember a couple of years ago, they were still in the playoff chase, and they went to Indianapolis and punted 5 times from plus territory. I mean, it's just very frustrating to start getting hope in this team. It's just so you need them to be. And the defense hasn't been bad. I mean, their defense has been sort of a middling defense the last few years, but. I hope the running back can be healthy, because he's a great kid, and we got to know him through our association with Boise. So we hope that's not a serious injury, and we hope that this team just starts getting better. I don't really care how many wins and losses they are, but are they getting better, and can they be competitive every week? Because you have these weeks they go out there and they get beat by 4 touchdowns and they're out of it by the second quarter. You just hope the team can be better and in 2 or 3 years that they can vie for an AFC West title. I mean, they're in a really tough division as well.
We were talking about this earlier. You have to consider them Week 1 Survivor, right? They're 3.5-point favorites.
You do, because when are you going to use them again?
Yep.
You won't use them in any division games, you would think. So I think they will be a much more popular choice than people think in Week 1.
Yeah, because the Chargers,
especially those with
favorites.
multiple entries that got entries, they'll take 2 out of their 6 or 1 out of their 4 or something like that.
If I had multiple entries, I'm definitely using one of them Week 1 on the Raiders.
Why don't you just get in, and then it's not an if, it's I will. I think you could convince team captain JVT if you split the entry to make that play.
Very amicable.
If I do it, it would have to be alone, because I can't do it JVT. I told him we have a great working relationship. I don't want to. We would just be either an argument every week, or if we try to pre-plan it throughout the season, it's just going to be mess.
Right, but if we had a daily show together, it would be an argument. That would be the whole point.
It's great content.
Yeah.
It really is. I was thinking about you watching your Raiders coverage. I know you have the button, as Cofield says, so you can bleep out whatever I say. Okay. But I was thinking, I wonder if Brandy's now, because of how...
You know about this?
Oh, the Washington Mystics. Yes.
Washington
Mystics.
That's what they, for our audience, that's what they call
themselves.
That's what they call
themselves. They've self-dubbed themselves
the
young hoes.
Yeah.
And the color analyst on USA last night actually said the young hoes in Washington.
Yes. You threw me for a second. I'm like, oh my God, the Mystics.
Not your friends.
No.
Not your friends in the DMV. I'm talking about, because I remember your great interviews with Shakira Austin.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's finally healthy.
I know.
Right?
I know. I mean, it's great to see it. I think that, the Aces are just a completely different ball game, but I've covered a lot of Aces games in my short time.
How did they let you in? You've written that many articles about the WNBA that they let you cover the games?
I have a season credential.
He can't get in.
I have to submit.
They wouldn't give me a credential for the WNBA All-Star game.
I don't know what you guys did, but I had 0.
You know what we did. We don't support their agenda. It's true. They want people that are fans. They don't want a free press.
Well, I'm a very
much like TCU, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm a very unbiased journalist, and my work definitely reflects that. And I think also my time covering the Mystics, I think helps as well.
Of course it does.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever gone to the post-game press conference for the Aces?
Yes.
These are the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. They take questions from Zoom or whatever, and questions. The people in the room don't even understand basketball. They ask questions that are not factual with what just happened in the game. Like when they played the Liberty here, and they beat the Liberty, like 197 or something, was a really good game. And they asked the Liberty coach, they said, how is... Paula Assier, they asked them, how is Paula Assier able to give you such a spark off the bench? And Breanna Stewart jumped in and said she started the last 17 games.
Oh, I can't speak.
I mean,
for
these
New
are
York
the
Liberty
questions.
Media. I can't speak for the
next guy. The next, some Zoom lady said, "Why didn't Sabrina field goal in the fourth quarter?" And the coach said, "What are you trying to say? Why didn't she field goal?" He said she attempted 3 field goals in the fourth. I mean, they're bizarre, these press conferences.
Well, I can't speak for
and
the New
he
York
can't
Liberty
get
Media.
in, and I can't get in.
Well, he has been in one game.
Yeah, I won. And then they kicked me up to like the fourth floor with nobody sitting up there.
I was sitting up there too.
There was caution tape where I was sitting.
Yeah, I was sitting up there too. I don't know.
Put a good word. I put in a good word.
I did. Well, you
met
them in person. Did they not catch a vibe when you were there?
I guess not. Actually, I asked the question. I asked a good question because that was the game that Chelsea Gray had set had broke the, what was it, 6? How many assists did she get?
1,000, I think.
2,000, whatever it was.
Oh, yeah, 2,000.
She passed the benchmark for assists. So I asked the question about her career to Becky Hammond and all that. So she gave us a good answer. Called her the best passer, male or female, she's ever seen. It was a pretty good quote, whatever it was. And then one of the media staff members gives me this look, and then afterward I go introduce myself in person. She was like, "Oh, I was wondering who was asking those questions. It's good to meet you." And I was like, "Cool." You never emailed me back when I tried to get back in.
I was there when you introduced yourself to her. She did not have that attitude.
What? Yes, she did.
She did not. I wonder why they won't let me into the games.
I will say, and this is on me because I got caught up at the end because I was like, oh, surely they're going to ask. What drove me nuts in that game was nobody asked A'ja Wilson about playing with Chelsea Gray as a point guard and what it meant for her. And then as she leaves, she's like, oh, congratulations on the assist, girl. And I was like, how did nobody ask that question to her?
Well, I mean, obviously, like that was the time to ask that question. But I will say, like every press conference, they do ask A'ja Wilson about playing with Chelsea Gray.
I mean, but that day,
yeah, I agree.
Story.
I agree.
They made sure to ask about the cake, though. I mean, it's important.
I agree with you on that one.
I was going back and looking. Do you know that Aaliyah Boston never plays the second game of a back-to-back?
No.
She's the highest-paid player in the WNBA. She never, in the last 2 years, 7 times. She's not even dressed for the back half 7 times. And I was thinking, I think she's overrated. Mm-hmm. And I went back and looked at the 2023 draft where she was number 1. Do you know out of the 36 players drafted, there's only 3 that are active on WNBA rosters? But
drafted in the totality of the draft.
The 3 rounds. 36 players. But if you go back to like 13 and 14 and 15 and 16, they all have 5+ players in the league. It's pretty amazing the longevity of some of these careers. And then that class was just a total miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And you would think it's the other way around, by the way.
Right, of course.
Like
recency.
Talent gets better.
And the recency bias.
Yeah.
But, you have more people that are in their 12th year of the WNBA than in their 3rd year.
Yeah, and it's because they've been so good for so long, and there's not enough roster spots, not enough teams to house all those players.
Well, they're going to have 18 teams here in a few years. So.
Yeah, that'll be fun to see. That'll be interesting to watch. But I will say I do miss the young hoes. I'm not gonna lie, I miss them. I love covering that team, but not
Washington
to say,
Mystics again.
Yeah, the Washington Mystics.
Gotta
Yes.
reset that.
Well, I'm a girl, I can say that. But
I don't think that's how it works.
Stormy won't say it.
I love covering the Aces. Like I love it when a coach is difficult in a press conference because it makes me want to ask better questions.
Well, how do you like Natalie Nakase? She is the most condescending person I've ever seen in a press conference.
She's also
and I think
awesome,
she's a
though.
great coach,
yes.
Right?
Yep.
But she is so condescending. When a reporter will ask a question, she'll go, all right, I'd like to understand your mindset of how you came up with that question and just take them apart. Yeah. It's just...
She's awesome.
There are levels to it, but yeah.
Awesome. And when they had their little 2-game losing streak,
by the way,
when they broke it in minutes, and she said, "I was really bad calling offensive sets in those 2 games." She goes, "Most of this is on me."
That is the
honesty.
project. Well, the seeding still has to work out, but right now they would face the young hosts, the Valkyries, in the first round of the WNBA postseason, which was set the other night. I hope that's the case. I think you and I both share it. I've got a lot of Valkyries to get this thing done. So I
just have Valkyries to advance to the semifinals, so to win one series minus 120. Yeah. That was my play.
And if the Aces and the Valkyries win as it's currently set, they would face each other, I believe, in the next round, if I remember correctly.
But the seeding is very fluid in this because they're all within a game and a half. Every seed's within a game and a half of each other. I mean, what we really know is probably Minnesota's going to be 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Aces still have a shot to be the 2. But, yeah, the Valkyries, and I think the Valkyries Aces are 2-3 either way, and they'll be in the second round.
See? Look at this.
Yeah.
WNBA talk. You didn't think that was going to happen on Ultimate Contest weekend, did you?
You know what? I didn't, but I love it.
See? Here we go.
I love it. But you know what's crazy is actually we're sitting here talking about the Aces because I've been so involved with the Raiders. I have missed so much time with the Aces, so I got to catch up.
If only somebody at the
person,
station. If only somebody at the station was willing to go and cover the team.
Well, do they keep rejecting
building.
you every time you apply? How many times have you applied after that one game?
Twice after.
They make him attach a link to 3 articles he's written about the WNBA in the past 14 days.
Well,
who has that?
What do you mean? What am I supposed to do? How do I write it?
Where is he going to write an article?
Our website, LasVegasSportsNetwork.com.
Is there a writing section? I've asked about it.
Ooh, who'd you ask?
This is all. Now we're just getting the dirty details out in front.
Well, now you're just trying to make up excuses for, I just can't. Throwing your hands up. If you wanted to, you would.
It's not true. Mike, before we get you out of here again, so remind people not only what this weekend's about, but some of the cool things that are going around on the property when you sign up for these contests.
Yeah, we have a lot going on here. Fun thing this afternoon. Well, Radio Row, 7 to 7 these 2 days. I think we have 43 either radio stations / podcasts here. So you can come up and meet a lot of interesting hosts and the guests that are going to be here. Today, we do our Champions Dinner at Andiamo at 5. So anybody that's made it to the end in Survivor or won millions, I think all in all, we're going to have about 50 people at the dinner,
cool.
Which is maybe 8 or 10 of us, and then those winners and their families. That turns into Bar Canada, which might be my favorite part of the weekend outside of the panel. You get to come up and meet everybody. So, and, some of the VEASAN people will be there. You guys are all invited. Are you doing anything tonight? Are you going to come over to Bar Canada?
I can't make it tonight because the Raiders have a preseason game. I'll be there. Yeah. I'll be probably at Allegiant, so 11 o'clock.
You'll be at Allegiant.
Yeah.
I was trying to convince her Legacy Club, though, on Friday night.
Yeah, Legacy Club on. Yep. What about the pool?
Yep.
What about are you here tomorrow in this spot?
No, I'm not.
Are you here tomorrow in this spot, or you guys are just doing...
Raider Nation Radio,
Q Myers.
Yeah, Q Myers will be here for Raider Nation Radio.
You can come hang out at Stadium Swim tomorrow from 10 to 4. Mm-hmm. I can get you a pass. That's part of it. So after Bar Canada tonight, Stadium Swim tomorrow, 10 to 4. Anybody that has 3 entries or more in the tournaments, or 1 Grandissimo, I guess, we have a blackjack shootout tournament from 6 to 8. We give away $10,000 in Super Bowl futures.
Ooh.
If you can be in the top 5. And then you said, as John mentioned, Legacy Club tomorrow night, and then we do the panel at 2 o'clock. What are you doing Saturday? If you want to come to
Saturday early
come
afternoon.
to the panel and ask some good football questions,
I can.
Of Ruthie Polinsky.
I'd love to meet Ruthie.
So Ruthie Polinsky is married to Harry Freed, who's an assistant coach for the Bears. But she uses Polinsky as their maiden name. But some people know she's married to Harry Freed. Harry Freed is a big analytics guy, but he's also the guy that tells Ben Johnson when to challenge or not.
Sure.
Ooh.
So her legal...
Polinsky's a cooler last name.
Her real name is Freed, but she goes by Polinsky, right? Mm-hmm. And Mitch Rosen said, she doesn't like really people bringing it up. Oh, is it a conflict? Mm-hmm. So I was going to come up with, Twyla from wherever in Chicago area has this question. Why did we have to hear ad nauseum about Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel and that conflict of interest when you got a lead reporter in Chicago banging one of the Bears' assistant coaches?
Well, they're married.
Well,
it's a little different.
I know, but I don't think she liked that.
Yeah. I don't think so.
And I'm not sure they still are because they've been married a couple of years, so who knows?
Well, imagine she walks off the panel.
Usually it's over at that point. But
Mike, we appreciate a couple minutes to rub against it. Thank you very much, sir.
When you said Brandy would be here, I said I'll make time.
Of course. Exactly
not for him. For him, I can pass. But for you, I will make time.
I appreciate it, Mike.
Mike Palm, VP of Ops. We'll come back, wrap up. We have less than, just over 30 minutes left.
Brandy and JVT, come on back.
Should be a permanent thing.
It should.
Back to JVT and Brandy, live from the Circa Resort and Casino.
See, they had your name first there. They just wanted to embarrass you in front of Mike.
Don't you ever speak first, okay? I am the lead here. I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
All right, Brandy's here. It's Jonathan Von Tobel, Galaxy Ballroom. You heard it. We'll be here for the next 30 minutes or so before we hand it off to a lesser program called The Rich Eisen Show here on ESPN Las Vegas. Come down. You can say what's up. I'll be around. I'm actually, if you are going to be here, I'm going down to the D for my normal show that starts at 11 at Bar Canada, so if you want to do that. Also, we'll be back a little bit later today. Brandy will be here all day tomorrow, and she's going to be out at Legacy Club tomorrow night as part of the mixer, so you can meet Brandy Flores, right?
I'm not going to promise anything, but I'm going to try to be here in the early afternoon. The panel seems pretty intriguing from what Mike said, so I think I'm going to try to hit that panel at 2 o'clock. But I do have plans Saturday night, so...
I said Friday night is the Legacy.
Oh my
Club
God!
concert. Yeah, Legacy Club.
Oh yeah.
Legacy, she told
okay, maybe.
Told on herself.
I keep thinking today's Friday.
It is not. Today
I
is
keep
Thursday.
thinking today's Friday.
Yeah, come on now.
All the days are blurring together. I've gone to every training camp practice. It's awful.
I've heard.
I know Steve has. Steve Cofield feels my pain because he's been at like every UNLV practice.
He has been. Yes.
Yeah. I actually binged watched his recaps in preparation for our show.
Really?
Of course.
So, with your head brimming with UNLV football knowledge, with a quick aside, by the way, it is a jam-packed day on the network.
Right.
A reminder to everybody, the other place I will be later today is Sierra Gold on 215 and Jones for the Coaches Show, the first one of the season with Dan Mullen. I'll be out there. Steve Cofield will be live from 3 to 4. And then the Coaches Show will be from 4 to 5. And then Kofi will be back from 5 to 6. So you can come down, grab some grub, say what's up. I'll be out there in a sporty red UNLV polo.
So you're going to wear the same thing all day?
See, Brandy, unlike some people, I work all day. So I don't get the opportunity to go and change shirts or do these sort of things.
I have my outfit in my car.
Beautify myself, all those sort of stuff. I'm what's known as a grinder.
I grind. I also just prioritize looking good while doing it.
Pause. So, what is your hot UNLV take as you are brimming with all of this information after binging all of Steve Cofield's content, which is fantastic and wonderfully produced?
Yeah, it is. Steve does a great job.
I sounded sincere.
He does. He actually uses the same format that I do for my recap, so how could I hate him?
He might be watching or listening, so...
I hope he is. Hi, Steve. Call in. We don't have a number to call in. Anyway,
702
here's my thing.
1100. We do have a number to call in, but...
We don't promote it. We could have had call-ins this whole time. Oh, my God, what a missed opportunity. Anyways, here's what I think. I think that whatever happens this Saturday, as we talked about in the beginning of the show, that this is a very, very important game for UNLV football. And yes, it could have implications on if they make the playoffs later this year or not. However, I do think that they could still have a successful season, successful being, they win the conference, if they end up losing. I think it's going to be a really tough game.
Oh, sure. It's
going to be really tough, and I think that if they lose, it's going to turn a lot of fans off, and it's going to be like, oh my God, we're just going to never live up to anything. And I don't think that should be the early hot take, just because of it is it's a first tough game. I think they'll go to Hawaii and win. I'm pretty confident in that.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm very high on Hawaii. I think Hawaii's going to be very good.
I agree, but I just think this first game for UNLV, even though it's at home, it's just going to be tough. Obviously, you hope that they make it out to the other side with the win, but I do think that fans should temper themselves if in fact they do end up going out and losing this first game.
This game's interesting for many different reasons. You mentioned the playoff implications. Obviously, it's the first real look at the team. We've been lucky enough. Not you. You're at every single Raiders practice.
I am not lucky enough.
But I've been lucky enough to see the team a little bit behind the scenes. Steve, as you mentioned, is out there every single day. But obviously, everybody wants to see what's going on at quarterback. And
okay, that is my question, though, because that's what I don't understand.
Okay.
What is this whole online controversy? He won't name a quarterback, and people are mad about it. I don't...
Okay, so this is what's happened.
Please.
At the very base of all of this, the very core of this issue is the fact that people are stupid. So that's our main starting point. People are really stupid, and so that kind of starts us down this path. As you have mentioned, Dan Mullen not only said that he will not name a starter, the key here is that he said both will play, both being Jackson Arnold and Alex Orji. Mm-hmm. Now, because of people's past perceptions of those two quarterbacks, Alex Orji and Jackson Arnold, both perceived to be bad quarterbacks, the thought is, oh dear God, both of them have been awful. Dan Mullen can't make a decision, and so the quarterback battle is now bleeding into this game, and they're both going to be awful. And UNLV doesn't have a quarterback. The world is on fire, and this is awful. If you have two quarterbacks, you have none. This team's going to suck. Dan Mullen said that both will play. If Alex Orji comes in a few Wildcat packages, if they play together on the same play to give some teams a different look, that means both quarterbacks will play. But there is a guy. There is a guy at quarterback. I believe that it's going to be Jackson Arnold when all is said and done. We will see if that's the case. But people believe that this means the quarterback competition has bled into the game and that the position is in trouble. I don't think people understand that he is doing this on purpose. Dan Mullen, that is. Also, it is amazing the selective memory people have. Brandy, do you know what happened going into the first game last year for UNLV?
No, tell me.
Okay. He played both quarterbacks.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, Alex Orji and Anthony Calandria.
Oh, now that I really don't understand why everybody's...
Right, exactly. So let's go back to the core issue. What was my core issue? Remember? Where did we start this at?
People are stupid.
There we go. Anthony Calandria, if you don't remember, right, even though he was participating in a game in which both quarterbacks played, Anthony Calandria would go on to win Mountain West Offensive Player of the Year and then subsequently get a bag to go play at Nebraska. So it's much ado about nothing.
Okay, I'm glad we cleared that up because I really couldn't understand the hoopla, which I saw. And because I listened to that same press conference where Dan Mullen said that, and I was like, okay, well, that can mean a lot of different things, everything she just said.
Yes.
Like, it can mean a lot of different things. Also, I don't believe that this game, again, this weekend, that he would be undecided on who their starting quarterback is or who's going to ultimately lead the offense most of the time.
Yes.
That wouldn't make sense. So for us to think that anything otherwise, after Dan Mullen's been pretty honest and upfront about what everything else is in his program, we're just going to figure out quarterback, the most important position.
Right.
I wouldn't even think by any square of the imagination that would be the case.
And that's, like, to me, the problem is, like, when you have your preconceived notions, you want to perceive whatever comes out about those things as how you want it. So, for example, when Dan Mullen actually, I'm proud of myself. One of the clips that I put up in one of the few practices that Steve could not make, it was a Sunday night practice, about the quarterback battle, made the rounds, and a lot of people were like, well, like, Dan Mullen, like, he's just saying that they're battling. Like, this isn't great. Why isn't somebody? And it's like, again, he's not going to show his hand.
Yeah.
But I can understand why people would be confused because coaches are usually so open with information. I mean, Clint Kubiak told us everything we needed to know about Ashton.
He basically gave us how they're going to run their first series in the preseason game.
Correct. I mean, right? Ashton Jeanty, too. I mean, we know exactly what's going on with him, what the timeline is.
The grade, the timeline. I know exactly what happened. I know the prayer that was said, too.
Right, exactly. So, which, by the way, can I just note as a quick pivot from that, because we'll get back to all of this as we wrap it up here, you and your media brethren out at those Raider practices, I'm going to tell you this right now. When Ashton Jeanty initially got hurt, I thought he died on the field. That's how it felt. Like, I'm not, and this is, and like, let me be very, I was like, oh my God, like this is very quickly. That's how it felt. A life snuffed out. So I didn't know if it was. To me, it looked like it was no contact. Dove for a ball. I saw him fall to the ground. He was down for a while. They cut the music immediately. Everybody's down on a knee. He's having to be walked off. Could not put any pressure on his knee. I mean, not on his knee, on his right leg at all. Carried off by two trainers. Everybody, it felt like somebody died. Like, I'm not kidding, and it sounds so dramatic. The media made everything so dramatic. That's how dramatic it felt. Even the play after, 2 plays after that, or like the rest of the practice, in my opinion, they were not focused. Like somebody had literally died. When I saw the report, that's how it was. It was wild. All to be an ankle sprain. Right. When I saw the report that it was an ankle sprain, I almost threw my phone through the wall. I was like, what are we talking about here? Me too. I really hope that is all it is, because oh my God, best case scenario, but we'll for sure find out when the injury report comes out, if and when Ashton Jeanty's on it. All right, well, we'll build on that on the other side, because I have a somewhat hot take about the running back position for the Las Vegas Raiders. We'll get some final thoughts on the Raider season from Brandy as well, but make sure circle the spot at some point this week. It is Ultimate Contest weekend, absolutely jam-packed week 2. You get to talk with a lot of people. If you're in the betting space, you want to get into it, you're going to get a chance to talk to a lot of folks. Professional bettor Chris Passero dapped him up earlier. He's here for ESPN Baton Rouge, but he's going to be around all weekend as well as a lot of other folks. And remember, check out all the other stuff too. The panel, you don't have to enter to get to the panel, so you can come down and check out what Mike's got going on, everything as well. So we're going to be here for another couple of minutes. Q will be here tomorrow. It is the Ultimate Contest week, and we are live ESPN Las Vegas from Circa.
Back to JVT and Brandy, live from the Circa Resort and Casino.
We're back here live from Radio Row, Circa, downtown Las Vegas. Ultimate Contest weekend. Just doing some business. Look, I just scared the crap out of Brandy. Just doing some business. He got really in my face. Angel, you're my witness. I was not anywhere near. He was in my face. I was nowhere. Angel says you were in my face. I was never. It initiated my fight or flight, and I picked fight. That was That was not okay. First off, that was not a fight response at all. You were definitely about to fly. My hands were up, and they were in a fist, ready to go. You would think after our established business relationship here that you would be more trusting of my presence, but I guess no. That is not. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. It's only our second show. I thought there was going to be more, but I guess not. You're too busy for all of this stuff. All right, so you've gotten knee deep a little bit. Like, this is still early morning. People are starting to trickle in. Yeah. But we'll call it like knee to ankle deep in this betting space so far. What do you think? What do I think of this? Yeah. I think it's great. As I mentioned earlier, I think, obviously, to everybody out there, bet responsibly.
of course, but I think that what Circa Sports has really created here, the fact that there's a Radio Row for one of the biggest NFL or the biggest football contests in the nation, or just in the nation, right?
In the world.
In the world, yeah. The fact that they've been able to create this as big as it is, and it's not. I don't think it's just about winning money. I think it's about making sport, of course, but it's about also making sports more exciting to watch, which I love because I love sports, and I think when you do have skin in the game, you care more. Hopefully, in a positive way, because when you lose, just don't send death threats. Keep all your negative thoughts internally.
I only done it once, and I told you that in confidence.
Yeah, this is a call out.
Yeah.
This is actually your intervention. But no, I think
more shocking that, or that I wear skinny jeans, that I would send a death threat. What needs to change more?
More shocking, the death threat.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, I think the sense of community, especially that Survivor brings, I think it's really cool that every Sunday, if you're local, that you could show up and be amongst other survivors. It makes it, I think, out of all the games that out of that one in the millions, I think that Survivor is a lot more exciting. Of course, the stakes are much, much higher, but I think it's fun to do that with a group of people, whether you all have a bunch of entries together or you are all competing against one another. I think it's fun, and I think you don't have to be in Vegas to do that, which is the wonderful thing. People flying in from all over the country, the world, to participate in this, I think is so cool. I think, as I mentioned, I was watching the docuseries that's on the VSiN YouTube channel.
Shout out 12:30 The Game, VSiN.
Shout out VSiN. And I think that it was so cool to see like this. It looked like a country club group from Florida that we're all doing it together. That's so fun. And it's more than just sitting watching the game. It makes it, with something on the line, it makes it more exciting. So yeah, I think it's super cool.
So a reminder, you come and you sign up for the contest. There's different things you get. It depends on what you get. As Mike mentioned, if you get 3 entries, either Survivor, Millions, however you want to split it up, or one Grandissimo, you get to participate in the Blackjack Shootout Tournament Friday from 6 to 8. But the vast majority of the other stuff you get as part of just entering the contest. So you can come down, get part of the cocktail party later tonight over at the D. Tomorrow, Legacy Club, Brandy will be hosting. So you can check that out tomorrow night. She'll be out there as well. If you get an entry, too, that'll be fun. Legacy Club. Have you been up to Legacy Club before?
No.
Yep, Legacy Club's a pretty good spot. Rooftop bar, all that kind of stuff. If you like old fashions, they make a very mean old fashioned. Got a cigar bar back there as well. But there's a lot that goes on this weekend. So if you come down and you sign up, and I'll be around all weekend too. So if you want to come say what's up, I'll be out at Bar Canada later today. Try to make Legacy Club tomorrow, Saturday for the panel. So it's a good weekend. And if you like sports betting, it's a good networking thing as usual because there's a lot of people out there in the space.
Oh yeah, and there's so many media outlets that are going to be here on Radio Row. It's really cool to see all of these radio outlets from all over the country coming to this. So I think this has just grown into something super incredible.
Well, it speaks to how much it's grown, like sports betting wise too, right? Like these sports betting's obviously a lot of these different states. It's a can of worms too, but with the growth of prediction markets, you're essentially betting as well.
Kalshi just bought a space in the Dodgers.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on. And so
Dodger Stadium.
Now, yeah. Operators and prediction markets somewhat at odds with each other. That's a whole other topic, but either way, the whole point is a lot more people are betting now, and so this sort of stuff is going to be a ton of fun, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be interested. So with that, last couple of minutes here, I've asked you your opinion on the Raiders, and I said I had a hot take about the running back position. I asked this to Kendall Valenzuela, who does SiriusXM Fantasy, last week when she was with us on the show. My thought was, does Mike Washington Jr. have maybe a little bit more on his plate than we expected? This was before the Jeanty injury. And I don't think it's going to be like a 50-50 split. But I don't know if I would be shocked if by the time the season was going along, 90-10 turned into 80-20, 80-20 turned into 75-25.
You're saying that he gets a lot more action.
He's going to get a lot more action. I think he's really good. And Kubiak, at least in Seattle, he didn't have a bell cow. We'll see. I mean, Kenneth Walker, he just had a foot injury the other day. We'll see what that means for him. But he seems to be the bell cow for Kansas City. But my whole point here is Kubiak did kind of divvy up carries in Seattle. I don't think he's going to do it with the Raiders. But I do think, given Washington's explosiveness that we've seen here, you would be foolish to put that horse in the barn, essentially, and not use it. Oh,
yeah, of course not. I think that if you do need another running back, kind of a sleeper, definitely Mike Washington. We still don't technically know what's going to happen with Ashton Jeanty, so I think he'd be an excellent pickup. But to your point, Clint Kubiak's offense, especially the way he ran it in Seattle, and especially what Levi Edwards told us, it's a by committee. type of style offense, and that's going to be the same in the running back room. I think that they're really everybody talks about, the quarterback and who they're going to lean on. The run game is the most important thing for the Raiders this year. That's why when Ashton Jeanty went down at practice, it was like the world had ended, because their success of their quarterback, whoever that is only going to be as good as their run game and the offensive line. The offensive line needs to be good so the run game can get activated, and then that just opens up everything else.
Correct. As we learned when Ashton Jeanty was drafted, a good running back does not fix a bad offensive line.
And even then, that's how good Ashton Jeanty was. That's why I really hope that whatever this injury is, it does not sideline him, because this is going to be the first year that the world gets to see Ashton Jeanty in the NFL with a chance, with a decent offensive line. I don't think they're perfect. There's a lot of room for growth still, but it's definitely going to be a lot better. Ashton Jeanty's not going to be fighting people in the backfield as much.
Mike, well, this is the most positive I'll be.
All right.
Mike Washington Jr., 40-1 to an Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Ooh.
I'm in.
Oh.
I mean, with the injury, for sure,
yeah.
Right? I mean, we don't know, again, like you said, and we still have 2 weeks until the season even begins. So, Jeanty could be on the mend, although
he
sounds
is on
like...
the mend.
I mean, yeah, that's true. That's right. That's
He's
what
on
they
the
said.
That's all
that's
he
tough.
said.
I mean, they had to amputate his leg, I thought, just given the way that everybody
God.
reacted.
You would think, and I was there.
But I would say that if he misses, week... Because that's the interesting dynamic for Washington, too, is let's say this bleeds into, like, week 1 or 2.
He's going to get most of the carries because they're going to run in. They have Dylan Laube, and then they have.
By the way, I was listening. What preseason game was it, or was it either way? The pronunciation of Dylan Laube's name, it was Laube.
In the press box in Houston, they said his name wrong 4 different times. I
think it was a Texans game. I was watching. There was a highlight or something, and somebody goes, and Dylan Laube up the sideline.
No, they said Laube.
Oh my God.
Laube.
Yeah, there was like
Laube.
Yeah.
And then they finally got Laube. But speaking of Laube, now I don't know how to say his name. He's definitely gonna be that guy in there as well. I think, and I think Dylan Laube can get like very subtle. I wouldn't pick up Dylan Laube.
Like I said, I think Mike Washington Jr. is going to be.
But I think that if without Ashton Jeanty, Mike Washington's going to have to take on a bulk of it. And at that point, it's just like I feel like you can do that though with the rookie running back. Like, all right, show us what you got. Okay, you're going to take most of the carries. Also, you got to think fresher legs too. He's younger, so he could last a little bit longer out there. So. Because the other running backs in the room, Dylan Laube, Roman Hemby, and Roman Hemby I covered in Maryland. Go Terps. But he spent the last year in Indiana, of course.
So you were an unbiased journalist.
Go Terps.
Did you go to Maryland?
No, I say go Rebels.
No, you don't. You haven't said it one time.
There hasn't really been an opportunity.
We've talked about UNLV football like 20 times so far.
Yeah, but we're talking about it from a location perspective.
Gotcha. Last 60 seconds. What do we got going on socials, and what's up?
So, obviously, Raider Nation Radio 920. If you are a Raiders fan, please follow us on all social medias, YouTube, all of our podcasts, ESPN Las Vegas, same deal. You could listen live, or you could listen on podcasts as well. Cofield and Company, which you're on.
I am.
As part of the company.
Frequently. And speaking of Cofield, live from Sierra Gold later today. So if you want, first coaches show for Dan Mullen. That starts at 4. Cofield will be live starting at 3. It's going to be a split show. He'll be live from 3 to 4. Coaches show from 4 to 5. And then from 5 to 6, Cofield will come back on. So either way, Sierra Gold, 215 Jones South is going to be the spot for you guys tonight. I'll be out there later today as well. So that'll be a ton of fun. Brandy's going to be out at the game later today. And then Q will be here tomorrow, correct?
Q will be here tomorrow, 2 to 5 p.m. Radio Row. So if you want to stop by, say what's up to Q, give him your Raiders thoughts and predictions, come on down.
Yell at him. Or interrupt him during the show. He'll love it. He'll absolutely love it.
He would love it.
Brandy and I will be back together probably never, actually. All right, we'll see you. Co for the Company starting at 3 o'clock. Ridge Eisen coming up next.